Show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. A new poll predicts Labour is heading towards its worst electoral defeat in history.
Yes, it also finds the Prime Minister is the least popular of all time, and Rachel Reeves is the least popular Chancellor since records began.
Well, with the Labour Party conference underway and a potential leadership challenge from Andy Burnham on the horizon, can Sir Keir Starmer convince his party that he is the person to lead them into the next general election?
And now there's another one. Did Keir Starmer dodge inheritance tax? It has been revealed that apparently he gave land to his parents via a trust. That meant their estates would never pay death duties on what became a big asset.
Rocking the chances of reconciliation, Prince Harry accuses palace insiders of sabotaging his relationship with the King. And he's rubbishing reports that the recent meeting with his father was like an official visit.
And then, of course, the small boat surge continues to continue. Almost 900 migrants crossed the English Channel illegally so far this weekend, according to GB News' own provisional figures.
George Galloway and his wife have been detained by police under the Counter-Terrorism Act at Gatwick Airport after arriving in London from Moscow.
And let's all raise a glass to English sparkling wine, as the International Wine Awards gives our homegrown grape the top spot, beating champagne for the first time.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
NASA says it will win the second race to the moon as it plans a mission as early as next February.
And in sport, a golden weekend for English rugby as the women's team become world champions for the third time. Team Europe are on the verge of a stunning Ryder Cup triumph as they take an 11.5 to 4.5 point lead into the singles at Bethpage. And Liverpool lose for the first time in the Premier League.
After a damp start to the weekend, today is looking a little bit drier and brighter once any early rain clears. Join me later for the full forecast with all the details.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
I'm very pleased to see in the papers this morning. Which one? It's a Star. The World Fireworks Championships, which it doesn't get a lot of PR, really.
Didn't know there was one.
Exactly. But it happens in Blackpool every year, and look at this. Look at that fantastic fireworks shot on the tower, lit up in all her glory.
Oh, good. I'm very glad. I thought, you know, I'd been under the assumption that Blackpool was on the fizzle out rather than fizzing up.
It needs a lot of investment.
It does.
Blackpool does need a lot of investment, but things like
They
this
still
are
switch
fantastic.
the lights on and everything.
Oh,
It
yeah.
looks really good.
The tower, honestly, it's fun. Blackpool is one of my favourite places. But just the fact that the fireworks, it's all underway, and you have teams from all over the world competing, and it goes free just to go and watch.
Yeah,
so people just gather.
So it's a fireworks event.
Yeah.
People
it goes
from all
on
over
for
the world.
days.
So I presume it's top-class stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's happening right now?
It's underway.
Happened?
It's underway.
Wow.
So it goes on for several nights, and it is the most fantastic
Well, I'll
thing.
bet.
You just go and stand there with a bag of chips.
I love me. Oh, absolutely. I love me a fireworks.
So it's got explosive potential, hasn't
Oh, come
no,
on.
not you as
Sorry.
well. Oh,
no,
dear.
No. I thought we'd have you back.
it? That's it. Goodbye.
Anyway, so if you've seen those in Blackpool, or you're going tonight to see some more,
That's
enjoy
that's
it.
lovely. Good.
Really nice.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see the tower all lit up beautifully. It's fantastic.
Yeah. There'll be fireworks in Liverpool, there, weren't there, at the moment? But not the right sort of fireworks.
No,
She
probably
said
not.
brilliantly, I hope, segueing.
It was a beautiful segue.
Did you?
I like that. Yeah, very good for a Sunday morning, because Sir Keir Starmer is facing a challenge to unite the Labour Party as their conference gets underway in Liverpool.
Yes, it could be quite an uphill battle, though, because polling, the latest poll, you remember we were talking about the mega poll yesterday? Well, now there's another one, and that reveals that he is the least popular Prime Minister ever on record, with only 13% of voters satisfied with his leadership.
What's more, the poll predicts Reform will win a majority at the next election. Now, that's better than the mega poll yesterday, with Labour heading for its worst electoral defeat since 1931.
Yeah, so the Prime Minister will hope to draw a line under all that. I don't know how, though, because he's had really quite a few weeks of awful news to overcome.
Well, there was Angela Rayner's resignation, of course.
Yeah, and then there was Lord Mandelson's sacking over his connection with Jeffrey Epstein.
Then there was a split with his party over key issues, including Palestine, digital ID cards, and, of course, winter fuel payments.
Yes. So the big question is, can the Prime Minister reignite the fire? There come the fireworks again within his party. Can he fend off the threat of reform? Is he going to let Nigel Farage live rent-free in his speech, in his head? And what's more, there is this constant rumbling of people after his job.
Yeah. Yes, it's a perfect storm, isn't it, really? Let's talk to political commentator Jennifer Powers. Morning, Jennifer.
Morning.
Good morning, both.
And look, we are sort of expecting this to be less of a Labour Party conference and more of an anti-reform conference, aren't we? And I can see the strategy. But people are sitting at home going, well, I don't want you to moan about anybody else. I want you to sort out the mess we've got now.
Yeah, the findings of this latest poll are really quite extraordinary. It's really unprecedented levels of unpopularity. I feel like it's this Prime Minister and this government is really they're really struggling under the weight of their responsibilities as the government.
They're shocked at the enormity of the job.
Yeah.
Yet they have been wanting this job for a very long time.
Yeah, you're quite right, Anne. And I'm not sure I can remember any Labour Party conference, especially one only a year and a bit into a government, which, let's remind ourselves, has a large majority. And yet, questions have to be asked. Will this be Keir Starmer's last Labour Party conference as Prime Minister? Because we have all of the political machinations. You know, we hear about the King of the North, Andy Burnham, and others vying for the crown of leader of the party and Prime Minister. But then we also have this policy abyss, this fights within the party around what the budget will be. And we hear today in the papers that there are Labour backbenchers still going on about wanting to break the fiscal rules, wanting to have handouts on various sides. And yet we know that borrowing is at its highest level in decades. And so here we have a party which is in government, but still not willing to take on the responsibilities of power, which is to be fiscally responsible and live within its means.
But then that doesn't give you much hope when it comes to the challengers like Andy Burnham, who sort of released a sort of manifesto saying one of the things he'd do is borrow £40 more billion to pay for council housing.
Yeah, you're quite right. It's as if Andy Burnham is living in a parallel world where the government has the ability to just rip up the rules of the financial markets and the rules of reality and pledge policies which many of us may support, but which are not currently affordable within the fiscal constraints. So I don't envy the Prime Minister. He's got quite the backdrop as he heads in to make what will be a make-or-break speech.
If you were advising him, what would you advise him to do? Because at the moment, the fiscal rules, which they've sort of brought upon themselves, mean that they can't raise any money except by the most unpopular means going. They've tried it already, and that's what's making them so unpopular. So maybe borrowing is the only acceptable way to do it, and then build your way out of what will be a recession.
Well, that's a high-risk strategy, and I'm not sure, given his and Rachel Reeves' reputation as being more cautious individuals, it's one that they will take.
Shot anyway, isn't it?
Well, look, I agree, but we're heading into perhaps Labour's version of Liz Truss here, if they were to go a high-risk route. And this does seem to be what Andy Burnham is proposing. You know, ignore the rules as they now exist. Just let's plow ahead and be radical. And it's like, well, everyone loves ambition and a wonderful vision, but is it deliverable, or would they be chucked out of office? So quite extraordinary scenes as we head into Liverpool and the Labour Party conference. It's just extraordinary.
With the backdrop, whatever sort of policies that they are pushing through and claim, or at least hope will set us in the right direction, certainly when it comes to the economy, doing what they've done so far has done the opposite of what they wanted to achieve.
Quite right. There's no growth to speak of. We're seeing flatlining on growth and productivity. That's got to be a real concern for the Chancellor. Ahead of party conference starting today, the big story that was briefed into the papers was Labour to create 20 new towns.
Yes.
Now, OK, fine, brilliant. We need homes and we need to build them for people along with the infrastructure. But I'm sorry, that's not a huge retail policy. I mean, if you're looking to really galvanise public opinion, if you're looking to get the support of backbenchers at Labour Party conference behind you, I'm just not sure, much as we might love Milton Keynes, I'm not sure, building 20 new towns, which won't be built for a decade.
Building houses. You can see the houses go up. You can see people go into them.
That would be great.
Goodness knows who this government would prioritise to actually rehouse. But that would at least make him popular.
I think so.
They've got to get the money to do it from somewhere.
Well, they've got to get them. It's not just the money. I mean, these things take a long time, and that's in this modern world. Does the government have time to put itself right?
Yeah. All right, Jennifer, we'll see you a little bit later on, but for now, thanks very much.
Yeah, actually, get in touch on your say. What would you do, given and don't just say get out of government, because yes, that's probably what a lot of people will come up with. But if you are Keir Starmer or Rachel Reeves or the two of them together, what can they do that will make them more popular? And where will they get the money from to do it?
Yeah, but the answer is nothing. And what they're doing is they're deflecting, which is why it's going to be an anti-reform. All this conference will be about the dangers of reform, I think, because that gives them something to go on without actually
doing
having
anything.
to change anything themselves.
But they won't.
That isn't landing with people. It's criticising reform. It's not landing with people. No, because what they haven't got their heads around is that certainly a third of the population, certainly, like what reform is suggesting, and therefore criticising them isn't going to make any difference.
No. And doing nothing. How can they do nothing? They're the government. They should be running the country. I don't know. It just makes you want to pull your hair out. But do get in touch if you've got a brilliant idea, and we'll pass it on to number 10.
Yes, we will. I'm looking at the minute, and no one's come up with any ideas we can actually pass on.
Oh no, exactly.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right, should we look at royal news? Because Prince Harry is accusing sources of attempting to sabotage his reconciliation with the King.
Yeah, and this is really interesting because it does make you wonder, because, of course, he himself denies reports that he branded his recent reunion with his father formal, distinctly formal.
Well, it's their first meeting in about 2 years, and Harry apparently joked he felt more like an official visitor rather than a member of the royal family.
But now his spokesperson said the claims were pure invention fed, one can only assume, by sources intent on sabotaging any reconciliation between father and son.
Let's talk to royal commentator Jack Stooks. Jack, good morning to you.
How are you?
It has to be said, there is an air of truth to this, isn't there? The idea that insiders are trying to put a stop to this. The idea that it was a very formal meeting is frankly ridiculous.
I mean, yes, you know, we've seen Harry time and time again have these meetings and go back and tell everybody what was said. Now, the reports that are coming out are saying that they're saying that it was a formal meeting, and they're saying that a gift was given. That's all that they've come up with. They haven't actually said what was spoken about at that meeting. So I do not think that Harry's going around telling anybody about this meeting. I think he does want reconciliation. I think he does want, to be back in the fold and actually be working with the family again. I know he's spoken about, time and time again, wanting to do a little bit of royal meetings, a little bit of work here and there. And I think that what we gather is that the king may have said, no, it's all in or all out, just like the Queen said before. But I don't see a problem with this half in, half out, because if you look at all the figures of all the other royals that are doing public engagements, some years, Prince William does a lot less engagements than Princess Anne, for instance. So does that mean that year that Prince William was half out? No, it doesn't. It's ridiculous. The royals doing public events and public engagements, whether they do 5 public engagements a year or 200, they're still actually helping the royal family. So why is it that, Harry's not helping? And it does. It makes pure sense, especially in this moment in time when we've got an ill king who, we don't know how long he can carry on with his public duties. We really don't. I mean, he's an amazing person as he is. He sort of pushes and strives along. But I don't see that Harry's gone off and told anybody anything. I think it's all been sort of made up, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, certainly any of the people I've spoken to, and so the journalists here in the newsroom behind us, they're all, you all think that this doesn't sound as though this was leaked by Harry. It really doesn't, because he's clearly very upset that any of it is in the papers, and he's saying that quite a few of the facts are actually untrue, demonstrably untrue, he says.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't Harry, then who was it? Now, he is sort of talking about the men in grey suits, which I'm afraid is the way Princess Diana used to talk, that people in the grey suits, the courtiers around, were briefing against her. And I can't help wondering now whether the courtiers think, frankly, it's better now if Harry stays away. So they're trying everything they can to keep him away.
Well, exactly. I mean, we don't actually know where it's coming from, like you said, and like you say, the men in grey suits. There are people like that within any business, as we know. There's people in the household that might not want the king seeing a certain person, so they might try and keep the king from seeing a certain person. They might suddenly have an idea that they don't like a certain person, so they might try and push that person out of a job. And we've seen that time and time again in so many businesses, so many companies. So it doesn't seem unreasonable to think that that's happening in the palace either. Now, Harry's been away as long as he has. And, some people in the palace might think, why should he be coming back in? But it's not really down to them, and it's not really down to, a person that may have seen the photo and, might have said to someone, oh, actually, I saw Harry holding a photo in the car on the way into Clarence House. I mean, it could be as simple as that, so it may not be coming from anywhere sinister, but no, we don't know where it's coming from, but it is odd, because normally we would hear exactly what was said in the meeting, and we haven't heard what was said. So I don't think it's coming from Harry, because it was probably only Harry and the king in that meeting.
And also, it's happened that there's also stories in today's papers that the king has told the Duke and Duchess of York to stay away from Balmoral at Christmas. Now, somebody's briefed that too, haven't they?
Well, somebody would have had to have said something, because we have been seeing the Duke and Duchess at events. We've actually been seeing them more and more together at more and more royal events. And since the story broke about the Duchess, she's suddenly being sort of pulled back out of all of her charities, and there's this sort of like distance being brought in against her as well. And you know, Andrew was slowly being brought into the fold, and then suddenly she was being brought in, and now it's sort of like a quick rewind. And yeah, the family definitely need Harry around, I think, at the moment. They definitely need some help. They definitely need some support. And, you know, for the family to continue, they definitely need to sort of, I suppose, get their act together. I adore the family, but, you know, they need to really know who they've got in the fold and help each other, really, to keep going.
Sounds to me as though they need to know who to trust.
Yes, Jack, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
I'm not the biggest fan of Harry after everything that's happened.
I'm not saying he needs to be welcomed back into the fold, but
this is about a father and a son.
Yeah.
And therefore, everybody else should frankly stay out of it. And if they want to meet and chat and try to get along on a purely personal level, that's up to them. Let them do it. You know, public life is a different matter. So this is about private stuff.
But Harry's done the wrong thing again. You see, he's gone to the papers and he said publicly to the papers, somebody else leaked this. It wasn't me, and you got it wrong. And I don't think he should be doing that. You know, he should be doing everything privately from now on. If he wants to make a point,
if you see all this in the papers saying, and he's apparently criticising his father, perhaps he felt the need to.
But he should
do that directly with his dad.
Yeah, except that he'd have to go through a courtier to do it, and would that get through? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's very clear, isn't it, that there are men in grey suits or whatever that Diana used to call them, who are playing politics with the royals as well.
Yeah,
inside.
And don't like it.
I don't like that. That's awful.
No, not when it comes to individual family.
I mean, a lot of people like Martin's just emailed in saying, yeah, Harry made his own bed, now he's got to lie in it. Totally get you on that, because, but, you know...
But we shouldn't interfere if they want to make up, should we?
No, and if the men in grey suits are briefing against him, that's not fair either. It really isn't, if father and son want to at least try and make up in some way.
Keep your thoughts coming through. In the meantime, let's have a look at the weather with Ellie.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a damp start to the weekend for many of us yesterday, but today does look a little bit brighter. However, there is still some rain around first thing this morning, particularly across northern parts of Scotland, where we'll see some outbreaks of heavy rain. And across the southeast, the weather front that we saw yesterday does linger through much of this afternoon, bringing some cloudier skies, some outbreaks of patchy rain here. Elsewhere, though, once that weather front clears northwards across much of Scotland, there'll be plenty of sunny spells on offer. Still one or two isolated showers across the north and the northwest, but feeling pleasantly warm in that prolonged sunshine, particularly across the south with highs of 19, perhaps 20 degrees, and definitely feeling more pleasant further north too, although temperatures still here around about average. So a cloudy end to the day across the very far southeast, particularly across parts of Essex and Kent, where we see that rain persisting into the evening. A few isolated showers across parts of southwest England, Wales, parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, and much of Scotland too. We'll continue to see one or two isolated showers through Sunday evening, and parts of Shetland and Orkney perhaps seeing some cloudier skies to end the day on Sunday too. But as we go overnight Sunday and into the start of Monday, that weather front across the southeast eventually clears offshore, and any showers that we do see gradually start to ease. So plenty of clear spells around, and with light winds, that means it's going to feel much chillier than it did on Saturday night. There is also a risk of mist and fog around in places, particularly across eastern parts of England. And when we do see those clear skies, particularly in rural spots, we could see a touch of frost in places. Any of that mist and fog could be a little slow to clear in places, but otherwise generally a dry, bright but chilly start to the morning on Monday. Any sunshine we do see across the northwest quickly turning hazy though, as we see this weather front sweeping in from the northwest as we go through Monday afternoon. The best of any prolonged sunshine definitely across the southeast, where we'll see highs of 19 to 20 degrees and perhaps a little cooler further north, particularly if you're stuck underneath that cloud and rain.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, in sport world, we've got a lot to celebrate, so it's time for a glass of bubbly. Do stay with us. We're going to reveal whether champagne or English sparkling wine has taken the top spot at the International Wine Awards. It's GB News Breakfast with me and him.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Now, at 6:25, you could enjoy unlimited British getaways with our latest giveaway, which is the biggest one to date. It's a 4-berth motorhome worth 74 grand, plus 30 grand in tax-free cash. Here's how you enter.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, British baubles are better than the French ones. apparently.
Zut alors.
Oh, yes, this is British sparkling wine compared to champagne. That's according to judges at the International Wine Awards.
Yes. Nightimber Vineyard took home the Champion Sparkling Wine Award, marking the first time a champagne producer has not lifted the trophy.
Well, the West Sussex Vineyard invited our national reporter Will Godley along as they began this year's harvest.
This isn't Burgundy, Tuscany, or even Marlborough, but that hasn't stopped these vineyards from becoming world famous. Nestled in the rolling hills of the South Downs, harvest is beginning at Nightimber. 500 people will spend the next 2 weeks handpicking the millions of grapes that grow here. Well, it's the earliest they've ever started harvesting here, and thanks to perfect growing conditions, they're expecting to pick enough grapes to make 1.8 million bottles of sparkling wine. And it's a good job too. The sparkling wine made from these grapes has just been named the best in the world, beating champagne for the first time at the International Wine Awards. Senior winemaker Brad Greatrix says it's all thanks to the British climate.
The south of England is absolutely perfect for traditional method sparkling wines. To see now that England, and specifically Nightimber, is the first sparkling wine producer to displace champagne from the so-called, the top step, is just an amazing accomplishment and makes us all so proud.
But no time to celebrate for Brad. Harvest is one of the busiest times of year. Each day, hundreds of punnets filled with grapes arrive here at the pressing centre, ready to be made into wine.
Once the grapes are separated from the vine, it's up to us to, as quickly as possible, get the grapes pressed and the juice extracted and fermentation underway to start the process of creating the wine.
That process starts here as crates move along the conveyor belt and the grapes are dropped into the press. It then takes around 3 hours to squeeze out all of the juice, but it's still a long way from becoming wine.
You have to be very patient in this world. So the earliest that a wine from this year's harvest will be on the market, so to speak, is about 4 years from now.
But the wait should be worth it. Nightimber expect 2025 to be a vintage year for British wines, which has seen a boom in popularity despite concerns that support is lacking.
If you look at all other wine regions in the world which have set up, they've had a lot of support from government to make it work. Here in the UK, we really don't have the support needed. In order to take us to that next level, to have more exports and more money coming into the UK, and finding ways such as having like a wine tourism relief, which would allow businesses to sell wines from their cellar door, encouraging tourism to the local community, would really benefit the economy of the UK.
The Treasury told GB News that they're working closely with the wine sector to drive growth, including by simplifying the duty system. But with English sparkling wine now officially better than champagne, more exports can only be expected. Because when it comes to bubbles, cheers, British is now better. Will Godley, GB News, West Sussex.
And it really is.
You've tried some, haven't you?
Yes, I've been to a couple of those wineries right down in Kent area. And of course, once upon a time, before the English Channel actually happened, we were joined on. So we have the same land and we have the same soil. And until just recently, we were about 1 degree lower in temperature, but we're not now. It is all of the winery people say it's global warming. It's raised the temperature slightly of the soil, but it's basically the same soil that grows champagne grapes. So, and they're even bringing over, you know how they grow grapes. It's all done with cuttings, isn't it? So the grapes are basically the same. The only thing is we're not allowed to call it champagne. But a lot of people reckon that because our climate is a little different, it actually tastes better than champagne. Than French champagne, and I have to say it's just wonderful. It's beautiful, beautiful.
Good.
Why would you? Don't buy French if we make the wine brilliantly ourselves, and it is gorgeous stuff. I'm hoping there might be
I think there is a
bottle lurking
somewhere.
Yeah, we might taste it for ourselves.
Anne will be getting her hands
Would you not
on.
even taste it to see what it was like?
No, I don't drink.
No, right, fine, good.
If you did an alcohol-free version, I'd drink it.
I think they
very
do,
happily.
actually. I think they do.
Well, in that case, ship a bottle of that
I
in.
wonder how they do that.
I don't know. Well, they de-alcohol... So they make it and then they remove the alcohol.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
I'd like to know.
No idea.
Lots of non-alcoholic wines are meant to be very good now.
But they are now.
They're working on it.
They used to be horrid.
Oh, yeah.
But now they're really very good, so there you go. So there's something for all of us.
Yeah. Anyway, don't buy French if you can But try the English sparkling wine. It's beautiful.
Quite right. Right, at 6:32, time for the Daily Reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, I'm Santosh and I serve as the vicar in the Anglican parish of St Andrew's, Wimbledon. There's so much in our world that feels uncertain or unsettled, whether you look nationally, internationally, economically, personally. And so for many people, worry is the wallpaper of our lives. Those scary what-ifs press into our consciousness day and night. But Jesus in his Sermon on the Mount flips the script on worry completely. He encourages people not to focus on scary what-ifs, but to look up and see what is. He says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they?" According to Jesus, the antidote to worry is paying attention to the way things really are. Look at the birds. They don't stress or sow or store, yet God provides what they need. In fact, he doesn't say God, he says your heavenly Father. And here's the clincher. Are you not much more valuable than they? The truth is, none of us can answer all the what-if questions. But Jesus holds out the comfort of learning to rest in what is. For those who know a heavenly Father can say, I don't know what the future holds, but I know the one who holds it, and he holds me. I have found that to be the best antidote to worrying about tomorrow.
Oh, that was very good. Because
nice.
we all worry too much. It's like saying, just make sure you stop and smell the roses.
Yes.
Isn't it? Just appreciate what we've got and how lucky we all are, actually.
It's very hard to tell somebody that who's just seeing doom, gloom and disaster, I suppose, but you've got to.
But it's trying,
You've got
be
to learn
positive.
to be positive. Yeah.
Oh, that was very good. He was very good.
I was just thinking of the ultimate winemaker was Jesus, wasn't he? Turned water into wine, didn't he? Well, I wonder what that tasted like.
Well,
she said flippantly. Sorry, I mean it to be flippant. Well, it isn't necessarily. I mean, surely that would have tasted like the best wine in the world.
You would imagine so.
In the universe.
With an instant vintage.
Yes.
Anyway, talking of smelling the roses, triumph for the red roses. What a day
Oh,
yesterday.
it was brilliant.
Well done, ladies. We'll tell you more in the sport with Marcus in a moment.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Oh, yes. It's pretty crass and crude in places, but it is basically making fun of Hitler. And it's a shady shyster producer who politely stoops old ladies to get investment money. And he figures out, with the help of a young, twitchy accountant, that if they take a lot of money in, put on a show that's guaranteed to flop, they won't have to repay the money, and then they're going to do a runner to Brazil. And of course, they think that Springtime for Hitler is the ideal show, and the guy that plays Franz, who's the writer of it, has like a sort of tin pot hat and these pigeons that harmonise with swastikas on their back. For me, he kind of stole the show. I thought he was wonderful. But they basically put on this show, and of course it becomes a hit. And people think that it's a satire when they were trying to outrage and horrify people and get the show to close.
Because they learned that they could make more money with a flop than they could with a hit.
Yes, because they don't have to repay anybody. Yeah. So that was the idea behind all of that. It's wonderfully done. This was at the Menier Chocolate Factory before. I didn't love it quite as much there. I just thought it was a little bit cramped. And this is a show that it's broad. It needs big moments, big swings. I liked it. It's on at the Garrick. It's all the way through till January. I just grinned all the way through. It's brilliantly done. Everyone on stage. Andy Nyman in the lead as Max Bialystock is absolutely sensational, filling very big Nathan Lane and Zira Mostel boots. But I think the whole cast is great. I just think everyone is up there absolutely going for it. And you saw it, no?
My mouth was on the floor at some moments. I mean, it is bawdy, it is outrageous.
Yeah. And the show stands up. It's still relevant. It's still, about possibly what's going on in the world everywhere as well, and fascism and dictatorships, but also about the proper use of satire.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
At 6:38, Marcus is here with the sport. You picked a good day to be here.
Didn't you?
I have, yeah.
Wow, what a load of headlines this morning.
It's all happening. Later on this morning, we'll talk about Liverpool, who lost for the first time in the Premier League. We will mention the golf in a moment, but I know everyone's been captivated by the rugby at Twickenham yesterday. England are world champions.
Yeah, they won the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if they were men, there would have been a royal there or a prime minister. I cannot get over it, because Canada's prime minister was there consoling his team afterwards, and I was looking to see if there was a royal or a major politician there for our girls.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, you know.
It's a surprise, because the sport has grown. Here's an interesting stat. When they played the World Cup final in 2010, across the road at the Twickenham Stoop, where Harlequins played, there was a crowd of 13,000.
Yeah.
Yesterday, 82,000. That was a record. England victorious by 33 points to 13. They've now won 33 matches in a row. You can see the delight on their faces, and understandably the captain, Zoe Aldcroft, was in very bubbly form afterwards.
Honestly, it is unbelievable. It's literally what dreams are made of. Like, we have had so much belief in this group. We've built something so special over the last 3 years, and today it was just about sticking to our process and just believing in ourselves. Like, everyone just had to do their own job, and I think that is what everyone did today.
Well, they've been doing that for the past few years. You saw John Mitchell, the coach there as well, coach of the year. He reckons they can dominate the sport for the next few years.
He was very calm and collected, and the girls were just completely over the moon.
Yeah.
And there were fireworks there, lots of fireworks, and all the glittery stuff coming down from the ceiling.
Talking of fireworks, now the Ryder Cup, we know it's passionate. We know that sometimes there's a danger that the crowds might go a little over the top. That happened yesterday, particularly when Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy were out on the course. Rory had a couple of vocal words of advice for the crowd, but the bottom line is...
Not ones we can repeat.
No,
the sort of advice that has to be bleeped out.
I haven't got any sound effects of Rory McIlroy. The bottom line, though, is that the Americans have been silenced. I mean, they are being annihilated, humiliated at Bethpage Black, where, you know, Europe lead by 11.5 points to 4.5. It's as good as all over.
The amazing thing about Rory McIlroy, because I've seen the clip where he actually does turn around and have his say, quite rightly too, because they were deliberately trying to put him off the stroke, weren't they?
Yes.
But he didn't let it get to him, and he made it magical.
Well, he did. He did.
You call it a stroke? I mean, it was one of the long...
It was a beautiful approach shot to about 4 feet from the pin, and I was thinking at the time, make it good, because if after that little contretemps you then muck up, the crowd will think, oh, maybe we're getting under your skin.
He kept his cool, and he made a marvellous shot, so that was quite something.
It was fantastic. And a little bit of a surprise in the Premier League as well. Liverpool have looked nigh on unbeatable. You know, Team Europe absolutely unbeatable. Liverpool lost for the first time yesterday at Crystal Palace, who are up to second in the Premier League as a result. And remember, they sold arguably their best player, Ebe Eze, to Arsenal just a couple of weeks ago. Oliver Glasner is doing an amazing job in South East London.
So what did did they just play badly? Was it their fault, or was it the brilliance of the other side, or what?
Arne Slot said afterwards they only had themselves to blame. They've already lost to Crystal Palace in the Community Shield right at the start of the season as well. Sometimes you get certain opponents who, for whatever reason, seem to get one over you. I tell you what, let's hear from Arne Slot, who can do no wrong, or at least he's done no wrong until yesterday.
Disappointing first half and a disappointing end of the game. So yeah, then we can only blame ourselves by defending is the way we did. So one of our players decided to run out because he wanted to play a counter-attack, which was of no use because time was up. So it was only about defending. So yeah, maybe we were too offensively minded. Not we, one player was too offensively minded in that moment.
He was fairly brutal there about his defending. Liverpool have one or two defensive issues, some fantastic attacking options, but it'll be interesting to see how he responds to that. And they want Mark Gay, who plays for Crystal Palace, almost got him in the summer transfer window, and he would really shore up that defence.
All right, Marcus, thank you very much indeed. See you later on. We've got the papers heading your way with Andy Jones and Emma Wolfe in just a moment. Morning, you two.
Morning! First of all, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's where you'll have to go.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Ex-Hurricane Gabriel continues to bring some wet and windy conditions across parts of Iberia over the next couple of days, particularly across southern parts of Spain and Portugal through Monday afternoon. There'll continue to be some strong winds and outbreaks of heavy rain. A little drier across parts of France and Italy, though the Balkans continue to see some outbreaks of quite heavy rain as we go through Monday afternoon. It'll then turn a little bit drier towards the middle part of the week, and temperatures for most reaching the mid to high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel. Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
you want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Right, before we go to the newspapers, we've got some breaking news, which is a bit worrying, isn't it? Poland has closed the airspace near two of its southeastern cities. That's Lublin and Rzeszów. Well, I think that's how it's pronounced anyway. They've scrambled jets in response to a missile attack launched by Russia on Kyiv. It's been reported that 6 people already have been injured. We'll obviously keep you well up to date with that.
Now, let's go through the papers with, this morning, Emma Wolfe and Andy Jones. Good morning to you both. Emma, let's start with the Sunday Times, should we, and this inheritance tax issue for the Prime Minister.
Yeah, so field for donkeys.
Yes.
With all of Starmer's problems right now, I didn't think that we'd be talking about a field that he bought in 1996, apparently behind his parents' house in Oxted in Surrey, for £20,000, which apparently was for donkeys.
In 96, it was
1996, yeah. It was then sold, let's just get this out there, it was then sold in 2022 by him. Starmer sold it for £320,000, meaning that the field was worth nearly £300,000. This is an issue of legal tax avoidance. There's no suggestion, I don't think, that anything illegal has been done.
No.
But he created a trust for this field and placed his parents as its beneficiaries. That's about as far as my legal expertise goes.
And as far as I've read it, he kept ownership of it. His name was always on the title, didn't
Yes, and they were the beneficiaries.
Yeah.
However, when he was running for Labour leader, he said, we need to clamp down on tax avoidance by companies and by individuals,
but it would only
cost the taxpayer billions.
Yeah, I know, and look, I'm not one to defend him.
I know.
However, when you look at all the details of this, why would he buy a field and then give it to his parents legally, you know, by signing the deeds over, only to know that he would then inherit that back when they died?
Why would he?
Well, why would he do that? You just
no,
buy
you'd have to pay inheritance tax on
You'd have to pay inheritance tax. So you just buy the field and let them use it, which is basically what he's done here, only by putting it in a trust, he's just saying, well, they can legally do whatever they want on it, but it still remains mine, so when they die, it's just mine again. Yeah. So I see what the story is. My question about this would be, has he in some way avoided capital gains tax on it because it was...
It's appreciated in value.
Because it's appreciated so much in value, and it's technically been owned by the trust and not by anybody else, so has he avoided CGT, which isn't mentioned in this story. But the inheritance tax story, I think, is a bit of a nonsense.
Yeah, there's plenty of things to criticise Starmer, and we'll be, dare say, criticising Starmer in this segment shortly, but transferring this over in 1996, putting it in a trust so his parents can use it for a donkey sanctuary, not transferring the physical ownership over. I'm not sure he's thinking about him being Prime Minister 30-odd years later. And also, I think it was just a sort of common-sense thing to do. I don't think this was a nefarious, deliberate avoidance.
I mean, if it was a case of someone doing this the other way round, from a parent to a child, you could say, well, that's avoiding inheritance tax. But because he bought it for his parents, who were more likely to die before he was...
Yeah. And they did. I'm just fascinated at the notion that he's made £300,000 in profit on this field, I suppose.
Yeah, well, value of land's...
Who knew? We should have all been buying donkey sanctuaries back in 1996.
The problem is, it doesn't... I mean, just to say... I don't think he's actually done anything wrong with that.
He did take tax advice from a leading tax KC.
It just doesn't look good. And that's why they're publishing it, because it doesn't look good.
Especially, Angela Brown has obviously had to resign for the stamp duty issue. Keir Starmer has talked throughout his career of those in charge of taxation can't also seek to avoid tax. When he came in, his big argument was the adults are in the room, and now look what's happened. You know, Angela Brown had to resign for something a bit more deliberate than this. You know, Tulip Sadiq obviously was removed after issues of being involved in a scandal or implications, allegations that she was involved in a $1 billion scandal in Bangladesh and all this sort of thing.
When we were going into the sport, talking about the red roses, or whatever we call them, English roses.
Red roses.
Red roses.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to think of Lancashire. I said, well done, ladies. Now, that could be deemed as offensive, according to the Sunday Telegraph.
Yes, Berkshire and Buckingham's Football Association has sent out a directive to members of their many thousands of football teams and however many people play football in the area to not say things like, come on the lads. They should shout things like, come on team, because it's more inclusive. And also, bizarrely, they shouldn't say Christian name. They should say given name, because apparently some people might be offended by Christian.
Christian-centric language.
And referees at the start of the game should ask for the captain's pronouns, preferred pronouns. But obviously, football's divided by female and male anyway. And so if it's a men's game, you're not going to ask, sorry, I want to be called she, her, because you wouldn't necessarily be allowed to play in the first place. This is a directive by their community and inclusion officer, who is in charge of getting more people from, quote, hard-to-reach areas playing football. I mean, I don't know how many... Is it hard to reach for people to play football? It feels like a constant sort of situation where we've been bashed over these directives.
I think what's more offensive is the fact that somebody thought this was worth doing, printing a leaflet. It's apparently about 16-page leaflet, and sending it out to all their sort of local football clubs and things. Has it really come to this?
As the only two females in the studio right now, do you find ladies offensive? Do you find the term ladies offensive?
No.
I mean, I prefer women because I think ladies does sound a little bit old-fashioned, but it's not offensive.
That's all it is.
And you often hear female sportswomen going, you know, the ladies did great today, the girls, exactly, and the lads and the boys did great, and all of that.
And we'll talk about the rugby team, the English rugby team, now won the World Cup. You say, oh, yeah, fantastic, well done, girls.
It's policing issues that don't need policing, and very often, speaking on behalf of groups, imagining what they want you to do, and they're not even asking for this sort of thing. You just said women there, you know, they're not interested in whether you say, come on the lads, come on whoever. Very often these trans
there are many barriers to young people getting into sport, like closing down all the sports clubs or you know, shutting down parks and playgrounds and fields, playing fields during COVID or whatever.
Yeah.
These are not the issues.
Shouting, come on, lads, to a male football team is never going to be an issue,
And come on the team sounds ridiculous as well.
All right, you two, thank you. It's weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a damp start to the weekend for many of us yesterday, but today does look a little bit brighter. However, there is still some rain around first thing this morning, particularly across northern parts of Scotland, where we'll see some outbreaks of heavy rain. And across the southeast, the weather front that we saw yesterday does linger through much of this afternoon, bringing some cloudier skies, some outbreaks of patchy rain here. Elsewhere, though, once that weather front clears northwards across much of Scotland, there'll be plenty of sunny spells on offer. Still one or two isolated showers across the north and the northwest, but feeling pleasantly warm in that prolonged sunshine, particularly across the south with highs of 19, perhaps 20 degrees, and definitely feeling more pleasant further north too, although temperatures still here around about average. So a cloudy end to the day across the very far southeast, particularly across parts of Essex and Kent, where we see that rain persisting into the evening. A few isolated showers across parts of southwest England, Wales, parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and much of Scotland too. We'll continue to see one or two isolated showers through Sunday evening, and parts of Shetland and Orkney perhaps seeing some cloudier skies to end the day on Sunday too. But as we go overnight Sunday and into the start of Monday, that weather front across the southeast eventually clears offshore, and any showers that we do see gradually start to ease. So plenty of clear spells around, and with light winds that means it's going to feel much chillier than it did on Saturday night. There is also a risk of mist and fog around in places, particularly across eastern parts of England, and when we do see those clear skies, particularly in rural spots, we could see a touch of frost in places. Any of that mist and fog could be a little slow to clear in places, but otherwise generally a dry, bright but chilly start to the morning on Monday. Any sunshine we do see across the northwest quickly turning hazy though as we see this weather front sweeping in from the northwest as we go through Monday afternoon. The best of any prolonged sunshine definitely across the southeast, where we'll see highs of 19 to 20 degrees and perhaps a little cooler further north, particularly if you're stuck underneath that cloud and rain.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. There's a new poll today, and it predicts Labour is heading towards its worst electoral defeat in history.
But it also finds that the Prime Minister is, get this, the least popular of all time. And Rachel Reeves is the least popular Chancellor since records began.
With the Labour Party conference underway and a potential leadership challenge from Andy Burnham on the horizon, maybe even Sadiq Khan, can Keir Starmer convince his party is the person to lead them into the next election?
And then there's another thing. Did Sir Keir Starmer dodge inheritance tax? It's been revealed that he gave land to his parents via a trust that meant their estates would never pay death duties on the asset.
Yes, more awkward questions for the Prime Minister about this, coming at a difficult time when there's been weeks of resignations and sackings, and when a new poll predicts that Nigel Farage would gain a huge majority. It's going to be a difficult few days for the Prime Minister here in Liverpool.
I there any chances of reconciliation? Prince Harry is accusing palace insiders of sabotaging his relationship with the King.
The small boat surge continues. Almost 900 migrants have crossed the English Channel illegally so far this weekend. That's according to GB News' latest figures.
George Galloway and his wife were detained by police under the Counter-Terrorism Act at Gatwick Airport after arriving in London from Moscow.
And let's all raise a glass to English sparkling wine as the International Wine Awards gives our homegrown grape the top spot, beating French champagne for the first time.
A small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And NASA says it's going to win the next race to the moon as it plans the next mission as early as next February and possibly landing on the moon before the end of the decade.
And in sport, a golden weekend for English rugby as the women's team become world champions for the third time. Team Europe are on the verge of a stunning Ryder Cup triumph as they take an 11.5 to 4.5 point lead into the singles at Bethpage. And shock horror, Liverpool lose for the first time this season in the Premier League.
After a damp start to the weekend, today is looking a little bit drier and brighter once any early rain clears. Join me later for the full forecast with all the details.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Ann Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Now, do you have an artistic bent, Anne?
Well, I do, but I know you're not very impressed.
No, I'm
You remember
not.
the Sycamore Gap tree?
Yeah.
And the way it was quite moronically cut down.
It was, yeah, absolutely moronic. The National Trust, though, is now asking for creative bids from artistes to build something out of half of the tree that was salvaged.
I think that's a brilliant idea, because they will come up with something wonderful. You know they will.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will, but it's meant to... We want artists and organisations to do things that will inspire the public to connect with nature and the landscapes around them, using the timber as a symbolic focal point.
Don't read it like that.
That's nonsense.
No, it's not nonsense. It'll be wonderful. You can only imagine what artists would do.
And I love trees and I love nature and I'm a member of the National Trust. I'm all this sort of stuff. But even I think, oh, look, codswallop, people, it's growing. The tree is regrowing now.
I think it's a tremendous idea.
Oh, not again.
God, no, this is terrible.
Worse than Aidan.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Sorry.
It's terrible.
Because you're friends with Aidan, aren't you? You don't talk like this to each other, do
No,
you?
definitely not. We save it. We save it for the cameras.
Oh, how wonderful.
It could be a design for a single artwork for one location, or several pieces, or something more dispersed or participatory. Get a grip.
No, look, you
Get a grip.
remember the Tower of London poppies?
Yes, that was wonderful.
Ceramic
That was
poppies.
wonderful.
OK, that's what artists can come up with.
It is, yeah, but...
Big, amazing public works of art that say something,
Yeah, they're not going to do that with half a dead tree,
No,
are
they
they?
won't do that, will they? But they'll do something else
I mean,
wonderful.
what are they going to do with half a dead tree?
Yeah, but there's a lot of wood in that tree.
Yeah, there will be. The other half's on display. so they can only use half of it.
It's nice, you see, that they've left the trunk and it's already sprouting. New life, isn't it?
Stephen,
so that's good.
You would if you could.
Oh, get away.
Oh, no, this is terrible.
It's awful.
Get rid of him immediately, yeah.
Terrible.
Dear. We do apologise.
We apologise to Marcus Buckland. No, so it's just, I don't know. I just think, let it be. Go up to where the tree was, see the new sprouts. This is coming up. Sprouts.
It's a long way to go to see things about that.
Sprouting, the new things that are sprouting.
Yeah.
And just be appreciative of nature reclaiming itself and doing all this wonderful thing. That's what you should appreciate.
The sycamore sprouts. It's just not the same.
It wasn't that old, actually, the sycamore gap
How old
tree.
was it?
It was like 120 years.
All right,
or
well, it's
something.
going to take 120 years
To
for
get
those
that
little
big.
sprouts to
Yeah,
get...
but it's not like it was 500 or 600 years old.
Why not make it a work of art? And it's a way of sort of,
Nature is its own work.
It's a way of saying to the people who ironically cut it down.
It was stupid to cut it down.
No.
But, it's...
I would love to see what sort of amazing things some very good artists will come up with. Thank you very much.
really.
And then we can go up there. I'll force you to go up there, and we'll do a live programme from there, and you can celebrate it.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be very nice. I just think, I don't know. Am I being too cynical?
Yes.
Probably, yes. Probably. Right, to politics. Talking of being cynical. So Keir Starmer faces a challenge, that's the understatement, to unite the Labour Party as conference gets underway today.
Yes, the Prime Minister is going to, of course, hope to draw a line under all the chaos that's been going on following his government over the last few weeks and months, and actually well over a year now.
Yes, we've had Angela Rayner's resignation, Lord Mandelson's sacking.
And that's not meant to mention...
Tulip Sadiq.
Oh, that's right. Well, there have been others. You know, people in charge of certain departments have actually been found wrong to actually been doing something wrong that they should have been in charge of, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Then there was the split within his party over big issues that we're still talking about now, like Palestine and digital ID cards and the winter fuel payments, of course. Winter's still not completely upon us. People are going to start moaning about that again very, very soon.
Yes, they will. Plus, the farmers thing hasn't been sorted out, has it? So can the Prime Minister reignite the fire within his party and fend off reform?
Yeah, or he mentioned reform in every other sentence?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. GB News' political correspondent Catherine Forster joins us now from Liverpool. I think that's what we're all wondering, whether or not Keir Starmer is going to betray the fact that Nigel Farage is still living rent-free in his head.
Oh, yes, I think we're going to be hearing a lot about Nigel Farage at Labour conference, just as we heard so much about Nigel Farage at the Liberal Democrat conference that I was at in Bournemouth just last week. And the reason for that, of course, is there was an MRP poll on Friday that put reform just shy of a majority, but there's another big poll out this morning that would give reform if there was a general election tomorrow, and of course it's nearly 4 years till we expect one, maybe, but would give Nigel Farage a majority just slightly bigger than Boris Johnson won in 2019. So the Prime Minister will talk about a fight for the soul of the nation. He will say there is a choice. He will label Nigel Farage and Reform as being the party of toxic division. He's given an interview today where he says that he believes that Labour can pull things around, describes Nigel Farage as grubby, going off to the States, making money, bad-mouthing our country. A lot of stuff that we heard from Ed Davey. But look, the Labour Party itself is divided. I remember being here 2 years ago, the year before Labour swept to that huge victory. There was a massive energy. I remember the Prime Minister's, sorry, wasn't Prime Minister then, but I remember Sir Keir Starmer's speech. He was treated like a rock star. Fast forward to last autumn, and the mood was pretty gloomy. Even though they hadn't been in power long, already things had started to go wrong. We'd had the freebie gate, the rows over glasses, over dresses, over free tickets. And basically, it's just got worse. Since then, we've had poll ratings that say that the Prime Minister is the most unpopular ever. We've got Andy Burnham, the Manchester Mayor, King of the North, some would say, giving big interviews, talking about his alternative vision. We've got many in the Labour Party wanting Rachel Reeves to turn on the spending taps. We've got a budget looming in which it's likely she's going to have to find 30 to 40 billion from somewhere. Chances are that's going to be coming from tax rises, something that she said when she did that last year was a one-off event.
What seems extraordinary with this, and I don't know how they get away from it, is that the government does seem to be out of tune with the country in this, in everything.
Yes, and the fundamental problem is, though, that really we haven't seen much growth since the financial crisis. We've had a pretty much flatlining economy. We've got an ageing population, a growing population. There isn't much money around. That's one of the reasons that the Tories were booted out. Labour promised change, and people want to see it. Now, in fairness to the government, they are trying to get the growth. They're major infrastructure investments. They're doing a lot of things, but lots of things that are not going to bear fruit for years and years and years. They used to talk about a decade of national renewal, but look, unless they make people feel better off by the next election, they've got no hope. And all the while, Nigel Farage is saying, well, we will just do this, we will just do that, we will fund this, we will fund that. It's easy to say those things, that will be very appealing. But of course, Labour will be trying to convince people that that is all just pie in the sky. But look, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult for the Prime Minister at this conference and indeed the next few months coming.
Yeah, you do wonder how he's going to spin it. And I mean, I'm just wondering how many people will applaud him and how many might even boo their own leader as he comes on stage, because a lot of them don't like, a lot of his own faithful don't like what he's doing.
Well, yes, there's plenty of them thinking that he is not left-wing enough, that he and the Chancellor are much too like the Tories that they replaced. Of course, the Prime Minister and Rachel Reeves would say, look, we've got no choice. We've got a terrible inheritance. There is no money. We've got to be careful. But we are expecting perhaps that they will drop the two-child benefit cap. That would cost them about $3 billion. That, make no mistake, yes, it will help to tackle child poverty, something the government is passionate about. But that is to no small part because many Labour MPs are furious about the fact that they have kept it, and actually the polling amongst the public, the majority of people think that it's fair enough. So if that is a choice that they make, and it sounds like it will be, that might be more about party management than improving their lot in the polls, though of course it could have an impact on reducing child poverty.
Just a quick final thought, Catherine, because Rob's just sent us a message. And he says, Keir Starmer says I am grubby, the enemy, far right, etc., just because I support reform. It's really chasing my vote, isn't he? I mean, he does have this, he is going on this very much an attack vector with reform and therefore people who support reform. But that isn't a very good way to win them over.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because if they're attacking Nigel Farage and reform, people might feel that they are, by implication, also being attacked. And we saw that Unite the Colours march a couple of weeks ago, over 100,000 people. People do not like to be branded far right or whatever. So I think Labour do need to be very, very careful how they frame the language around that. Otherwise, I think it could make things even worse for them.
OK. Catherine, thank you. Just to remind you, the Camilla Tominey Show is live from Liverpool this morning. She'll be talking to the Housing Secretary, Steve Reid, Shadow Housing Secretary, Sir James Cleverly, former Tory Chairman and Reform defector, Sir Jake Berry. That's 9:30 this morning.
That's a busy place for a really busy show a bit later on. Now, President Trump has announced that he is going to send troops to Portland to protect immigration and customs enforcement facilities that he claims are under siege by Antifa and the other domestic terrorists, his words.
Yeah, well, the announcement follows the shooting at an ICE office in Dallas, which killed one person and left two more critically injured, and the gunman killed himself as well.
Well, the host of the Nightly Scroll joined Ben Leo on Late Show Live last night.
President Trump is responding the way that a leader should, and the leadership in these Democrat cities, they are, I use that term lightly because the governor in Oregon, Tina Kotek, and the mayor there, Keith Wilson, they say that these National Guard troops are not needed. They don't want any of the help because, of course, if they admit that they need help, they're also admitting in the same breath that their policies are a total failure and people are not safe in their cities. So President Trump is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. They're fighting him at every turn.
And, of course, you can watch The Late Show live every night here on GB News at midnight.
But right now, here at 7:15 in the morning, we've got Jennifer Powers with us. I mean, a lot of people praise President Trump, even if they don't like him very much. They praise him for at least getting things done and having action. But actions have problems sometimes. And are we beginning now to see a fight back that's causing domestic problems?
I don't know about that. I think this move will be welcomed by a large sector of the population in the US. I mean, it comes against this backdrop, as you said a moment ago, of the shooting outside the Dallas field office, where it was actually 2 detainees that were wounded and 1 killed. So the gunman may have been going for the immigration officers, but he actually killed the detainees. And there's been long-running protests and intimidation outside these ICE field offices and threats to ICE officers for many months now. They're having to wear masks simply to hide their identity because a lot of these Antifa activists are actually looking for them and threatening them, and their home address and contact details have been made public.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, not just online, but the Antifa has actually been handing out flyers with the ICE officials' details, you know, putting their families at risk. So President Trump is not taking kindly to this. And of course, we have the backdrop of the assassination of Charlie Kirk a few weeks ago, the right-wing conservative activist. And so the administration pledged to really go after violent left-wing groups. And so earlier this week, the president signed an executive order designating Antifa to be a domestic terror organization. And that gives the government...
Is that the first time that's ever really happened?
Well, yeah, it's not something that's common in the US. We haven't had that designation, but he signed the executive order on the 22nd of September, which now tells all the different authorities in the US to use every means possible to disrupt Antifa's methods and organization. And so, you know, it calls them a militaristic, anarchistic enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the US government, attacks on law enforcement and undermining the rule of law. So he's really saying, you know, you cannot attack this administration's plan to remove illegal immigrants. You know, we have the support, he has the mandate to do that, and he's pushing ahead. And we have seen the violence on Wednesday and the threat to ICE agents across the country. So
what then do we make of the fact that it's Gavin Newsom? Is he the governor of California?
He is, yeah.
Right, and he was someone who was widely tipped to potentially be Kamala Harris's VP.
Still may run for higher office, yeah.
And he's ordered within his region that ICE agents cannot cover their faces.
Yeah, which puts these people at risk, and I think is a deeply irresponsible move from the governor.
So he can't do anything to stop the ICE agents
doing
their job in his state, but he can order them to take their masks off.
Well, who knows? This may yet end up in the court. But what we're seeing here, a couple things going on. One, we're seeing a perennial issue in the U.S. about the federal government versus the states and who has power. And the Trump administration saying, you know, we're going to intervene where we feel there's an issue. We're going to deport illegal immigrants. And also, if we feel that we're not able to do our job safely, we're going to send in additional troops to protect these ICE agents. And you hear the states, here you have the states going, we didn't ask for federal troops. We feel it will be inflammatory to bring them in. We don't want them there. And so we had the court case in LA when Trump sent troops in back in June. He sent troops into D.C. in August, which has had an impact on driving crime rates down. And there's been talk of him sending troops into other places like Chicago, New Orleans, and Memphis.
And you wonder why Portland, presumably because there have been threats there.
Yes, there is a long history of intimidation of ICE agents in Portland. It's a hotbed of left-wing activism over many decades. And so, yeah, he's upped the ante and is threatening to send them in.
OK. Jennifer, thank you. I'm glad it's not just over here we've got problems.
Well, I was going to say, who'd be a politician who'd want to run a country?
Who'd want to be an immigration agent?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's a dangerous job as well.
Do you remember when Trump announced it? He said, you know, they're tough. I wouldn't mess with them. But some people are choosing to.
Yeah. All right, Jennifer, thank you.
Pleasure.
At 7:20, some breaking news for you. Poland has closed airspace near 2 of its southeastern cities, Lublin and Rzeszów, and the scrambled jets as well in response to a missile attack launched by Russia on Kyiv. It's been reported that 6 people have been injured. Residents of the Ukrainian capital have apparently fled to metro stations underground for safety as the attack continues.
George Galloway has been detained, or at least he was quite briefly, under the Terrorism Act when he arrived at Gatwick Airport. Officers from the Met Police's Counter-Terrorism Command stopped the 71-year-old former MP as he returned to the UK from Moscow via Abu Dhabi.
And Jaguar Land Rover has been rescued with a £1.5 billion government-backed loan. So it's not our money, we're just guaranteeing it. After it stopped manufacturing following a cyber attack earlier this month, the shutdown caused by the attack is expected to last until the end of the month, leaving the company's suppliers in limbo. The cash will allow them to support their supply chain after firms warned of mass layoffs and collapse following the halt to production. I think Jaguar Land Rover's done for.
Marks and Spencers were hit as well by a cyber attack. I mean, we're talking about missiles in 1 minute, and the next minute it's cyber attacking as well.
But also the problem that adds to the mix of this is that the Jaguar side of the business has just scrapped basically all of its traditional cars.
Yes.
They're bringing a completely new range of all-electric stuff, which
nobody wants at the moment.
Nobody is, especially the designs. Remember the advert? And all
totally awful advert. So their sales just bombed, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. So they were in trouble anyway.
They can't be for the chop, though. Jaguar Land Rover is such an old, well-established...
Well, the Land Rover would sell the Jaguar part off, I think.
Yeah.
But I just think it's screwed. Basically, nobody wants the Jaguar side of it. Well, it would, but what have they done to the company?
I know, they've ruined it. Can't it be saved?
I mean, the good news about this, I know I don't like government intervening in business, but at least this is about the supply chain. So it's all the little companies that supply them that are all looking at going out of business. So at least this is a lifeline to them. So hopefully that's something.
Ah, well, doom, gloom and disaster. Let's find out about the weather, shall we?
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a damp start to the weekend for many of us yesterday, but today does look a little bit brighter. However, there is still some rain around first thing this morning, particularly across northern parts of Scotland, where we'll see some outbreaks of heavy rain. And across the southeast, the weather front that we saw yesterday does linger through much of this afternoon, bringing some cloudier skies, some outbreaks of patchy rain here. Elsewhere, though, once that weather front clears northwards across much of Scotland, there'll be plenty of sunny spells on offer. Still 1 or 2 isolated showers across the north and the northwest, but feeling pleasantly warm in that prolonged sunshine, particularly across the south with highs of 19, perhaps 20 degrees, and definitely feeling more pleasant further north too, although temperatures still here around about average. So a cloudy end to the day across the very far southeast, particularly across parts of Essex and Kent, where we see that rain persisting into the evening. A few isolated showers across parts of southwest England, Wales, parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and much of Scotland too. We'll continue to see 1 or 2 isolated showers through Sunday evening, and parts of Shetland and Orkney perhaps seeing some cloudier skies to end the day on Sunday too. But as we go overnight Sunday and into the start of Monday, that weather front across the southeast eventually clears offshore, and any showers that we do see gradually start to ease. So plenty of clear spells around, and with light winds that means it's going to feel much chillier than it did on Saturday night. There is also a risk of mist and fog around in places, particularly across eastern parts of England, and when we do see those clear skies, particularly in rural spots, we could see a touch of frost in places. Any of that mist and fog could be a little slow to clear in places, but otherwise generally a dry, bright but chilly start to the morning on Monday. Any sunshine we do see across the northwest quickly turning hazy though as we see this weather front sweeping in from the northwest as we go through Monday afternoon. The best of any prolonged sunshine definitely across the southeast, where we'll see highs of 19 to 20 degrees and perhaps a little cooler further north, particularly if you're stuck underneath that cloud and rain.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Right, well, what about our Great British Giveaway?
Yes, what
It
about
will
it?
allow you to do a Great British Getaway.
It will. Oh, very good.
Thank you. Of course, you know what it is by now. A new four-berth motorhome worth over 74 grand, plus 30 grand in tax-free cash in your back pocket to do what you like with. It's our biggest prize to date. Hayley Sparks will tell you more.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000.
You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this four-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model.
We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to you. Still to come, if you're going to the football, don't shout, "Come on, lads," because apparently you have to now say, "Come on, team."
Or persons.
Yes, come on, people. That's what one football association wants us all to do, because saying "come on, lads" is offensive. We'll talk about that more in a moment.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
This week, an extraordinary art discovery was made on an estate agent's listing in Mar del Plata in Argentina. Above a velvet sofa hangs an old master portrait lost for more than 80 years, looted by the Nazis. Its reappearance has reignited interest in the long quest to restore stolen heritage. Joining me now is historian Michaela Hume.
It's a fascinating story. So, a lady who is a descendant of a former soldier who worked with Hermann Göring has, it is believed for years, has had some art that has been looted, that was looted during World War II. And I think people have approached her about this over the years, and she's categorically denied having any looted art. And she goes then to put one of the houses, I think that was owned by her father, up for sale, and hasn't realised that art that is believed to have been looted is actually on these images that the estate agent has taken.
Although it is extraordinary, it's kind of not entirely a surprise in the sense that the flat did belong to a Nazi official, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. And we know that Hermann Göring himself was a collector of art. I think during the 1940s, it was said that he was getting, on average, about 3, paintings, what we would call masterpiece paintings, a week. So we know that a large percentage of this looted art was going to him. It was even said that he had masterpieces just hung up in his cabin in the country, so it's highly plausible that he has given a piece of art to one of his right-hand men that has then been, passed down to his daughter.
The People's Channel.
the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Yeah. Just want to get your blood boiling.
Well, this will, because, I mean, when you think of the Lionesses when they won, and yesterday, of course, the wonderful winning of the World Cup for the female, the English, I was going to say female, are you allowed to say that anymore even? Yeah. The women's rugby. What do you shout? Come on, I don't know, ladies.
Come on.
Come on, women.
Come on, you people.
Team. Yes, people. It's not the same, is it? But the reason we're talking about that is because the Berkshire and Buckinghamshire FA has published new guidance, apparently something like a 16-page leaflet. Somebody's thought of that. Somebody's job to provide it, maybe. Anyway, it's got guidance in it, advising players against get this. It's advising players against using gender-specific language in an attempt, of course, to make the game more inclusive.
Yes, it suggests that terms like linesman and shouting, "Come on, lads," is very offensive. And we need to talk about assistant referees and "come on, team."
Yeah. What about the teams that you way lads or way me lads? You can't do that anymore. Apparently, several people have been in touch saying that's what we shout up here. But maybe you've got to think about it now.
But if it's a team full of men, what's the problem?
It's offensive to potential women players.
Potential women players.
I don't know. I mean, I find it ridiculous. But should we ask the opinion of a certain former footballer, Mickey Quinn? Morning, Mickey.
Hi, guys. Oh, sorry, you can't say that neither, guys.
No.
Hi, Stephen. Hi, Anne. Oh, you can't say that neither. I mean, it's...
No, because that's a bit gender-specific, frankly. Yeah, I mean, why do... I mean, the idea is, I think, to make it... just to get people to watch what they say and what they shout so that they don't put people off joining a local football club. I mean, if you went along to see a local football club play and you heard people saying, "Come on, lads," you wouldn't let that put you off joining if you were keen on football, would you?
No, not at all, Anne. I mean, listen, I'm off to Newcastle United versus Arsenal today, and you just mentioned the Geordies, you know, and you try telling a million Geordies not to say "away the lads" to their team. I was at Newcastle United ladies recently as well, you know, and I'm shouting, "Come on, the lasses."
Yeah.
And whether that's a northern thing or a football term, I don't know. But when I read this article, I thought, this guy's from down south. And when I read it was Berks and Buckinghamshire, it backed up my statements. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's just sensitivity gone mad.
I mean, the thing is, look, I'm not dead against trying to be, you know, trying to bring people into the game or, trying to be sort of generally nicer and inclusive in a general sort of way. But what's happened to common sense? Where's the common sense in all of this?
There is no common sense. I mean, you come into sport, and football, it's a very emotive sport. And, you know, you can't say, "Lino, you should have gone to Specsavers." You've got to say, "Excuse me, assistant referee, you need to go to the opticians." I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, people like, you know, to vent the frustration. It's not going to stop people joining sport. That, you know, I think I'm based in Newmarket, Suffolk, and, you know, there's lots of football teams, boys, girls. I think there's even transgender teams as well. So, you know, everyone, if they enjoy sport, should be able to, you know, play with, I'm not saying with no filter, but, you know, you've got to enjoy it. You've got to say what you feel, say what you think. Just madness, absolute madness.
Well,
people tell us what we can't say.
It does come down to sort of the common sense of probably people who are organising the teams, but maybe they don't need to be told specifically in a booklet about how to watch their language. For instance, if you've got a team that's made up of kids, for instance, of lots of different religions, races, genders, whatever, it also says don't use the term Christian names. Say you want to get them, what are their given names? Because otherwise it's Christian... Centric, yeah. I mean, do we have to be told for a start?
Yeah, look, I don't get it, really, honestly, whether I'm thick. I don't get it. I was captain of 4 football clubs professionally, and I call them all by the Christian names, you know. It just perplexes me. If anything, I think it could work the opposite. I think it could turn people away if they start messing around with the sport and messing around with names, and you know, and you can't say ladies and gentlemen if it's a mixed team for boys and girls, or boys and girls. You've got to say hi all.
Yes.
I mean, come on. I mean, listen, the sport's being messed with as it is, with so many rules and changes, and you've got to enjoy it, not actually think about what you're going to say and what you're going to do before you do it. You know, you'll be asking permission for someone to kick you next. I mean, it's madness.
Mickey, it's always good to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Lovely to see the two of you.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think it's all right to say that, I think,
it's lovely
the two
to
of
see
you.
you. Are you allowed to say you? Have we got to ask if you want to be a he, she, or an it, or a cat? Maybe,
There'll be no filter when I go to Newcastle versus Arsenal today.
Yeah, you go for it. Well, look, we better say that the Community and Inclusion Manager at Berkshire and Buckingham...
Sorry, the what?
The Community and Inclusion Manager...
There you go.
At Berkshire and Buckinghamshire FA said the new guide will help us all take simple but meaningful steps to ensure our game is inclusive, respectful and welcoming to everybody.
OK. It all goes back to the fact that they appointed a community and inclusion manager, I suppose, and he has a job to do. And he's just done it.
I mean, this is where it does get a little bit crazy. I was... Actually, I was out with Liz Kershaw yesterday, and she was telling me about she'd come across someone called a wheelchair therapist, and their job was to check the wheelchair, nothing to do with the patient.
Oh,
it was to check the wheelchair, but they're called a wheelchair therapist.
But it's a therapist to the chair.
But it's the chair's
sort of a wheelchair checker.
Yes, I mean, honestly, all of it's just gone too mad.
We live in a weird world nowadays.
Can we just strip it all back to the 1970s, please?
Oh, I don't know.
80s then, 80s. Right, we've got the sport coming up for you in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
No, you're not going to.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dormy, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Right, it's time for the sport. And it's all celebrating the things that happened yesterday. Marcus is here.
It is, and I know you were part of those celebrations yesterday afternoon.
I was watching on the telly. I mean, I wasn't there.
Well, it's an inclusive.
I would have loved to have been there because it got so exciting.
Yeah, well, there were 82,000 there. That was a record for a women's rugby international, and the Red Roses have become world champions. They've won 33 matches in a row, which is pretty impressive.
It is.
They've come so close in the last 2 World Cups. They did it, though, by 33 points to 13 against Canada. They were naturally thrilled. Their captain is Zoe Aldcroft, and this is what she had to say afterwards.
Honestly, it is unbelievable. It's literally what dreams are made of. Like, we have had so much belief in this group. We've built something so special over the last 3 years, and today it was just about sticking to our process and just believing in ourselves. Like, everyone just had to do their own job, and I think that is what everyone did today.
Oh, it's a magnificent trophy. You saw John Mitchell as well, who is a fantastic coach. He's come close. He's had heartbreak in the past when it's come to World Cups. So I imagine they'll be celebrating for a...
They're doing a big rally today somewhere. I can't remember where it is now, actually. But...
Yeah, well, they deserve to.
And they were all drinking champagne on the pitch, and they were having a wonderful time.
It should have been English sparkling wine, mind you.
It should have been. It could well have been.
Yes.
Yeah. Could well have been. But I mean, it's a great thing to see. Actually, they're not getting as much attention as the Lionesses, though, are they? But that'll come, I guess.
I think so. I mean, the fact that when the World Cup was played in this country in 2010 and 13,000 people came, and yesterday it was 82,000, and they've won 33 matches in a row, I think the sport can only get bigger, but they're wonderful pictures, and we could have some more celebratory pictures from Team Europe later on today at Bethpage Black. I'm intrigued to see what the American crowd is like, because their team's up against it. They're almost certainly going to not just lose the Ryder Cup, but be humiliated. I mean, it's gone horribly wrong for Team USA.
We mustn't enjoy the humiliation too much.
Why?
We're meant to be keeping in with the Americans.
Well, we are a little bit, yes. But when it comes to sport, we don't have to. Well, McIlroy got a bit worked up yesterday.
He did. It was very emotive. He and Shane Lowry, who are quite good at giving it back, were getting plenty, and they answered with their golf clubs, which was exactly the right thing to do. And now Luke Donald's men only need 3 more points. I hope I can say Luke Donald's men in this instance. 3 more points to win the Ryder Cup again. And you had Mickey Quinn on, who was great. Away with the lads later on today, because Newcastle are playing Arsenal, which is a big game. If Arsenal win, they'll go second in the table. Aston Villa against Fulham also today. But the surprise yesterday, Liverpool lost in the league for the first time this season.
Yes, that's not good at all, is it?
Well, I suppose you're allowed to lose every now and then, but the team, this is the surprise. Crystal Palace, who lost Ebe Eze to Arsenal recently, did win the FA Cup last season, are up in second place at the moment, doing brilliantly, the Eagles.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Good. Lovely. Thank you, Marcus.
Right, we've got to say goodbye because we've got to press on, otherwise we won't have enough time for the papers. We'll be talking about, oh, yes, I know, Prince Harry.
Oh, you love that.
Oh, yes, sorry. But there's Andy and Emma getting ready for the papers. First of all, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's where you might find it.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Ex-Hurricane Gabriel continues to bring some wet and windy conditions across parts of Iberia over the next couple of days, particularly across southern parts of Spain and Portugal through Monday afternoon. There'll continue to be some strong winds and outbreaks of heavy rain. A little drier across parts of France and Italy, but the Balkans continue to see some outbreaks of quite heavy rain as we go through Monday afternoon. It'll then turn a little bit drier towards the middle part of the week, and temperatures for most reaching the mid to high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
What do you think is the origin of this palace not being loved by the royal family as a place to live?
Well, you see, it's a little bit like an Edwardian hotel in Brighton. It's all long corridors and rooms off them. It's not very friendly as a place, you know. So the Queen and Prince Philip occupied the rooms along the Constitution Hill side. She had half of them and he had the other half. And if ever they came out into a corridor, you know, so it's just not very friendly. And of course, the other thing is that the gardens are now terribly overlooked by the Hilton and other big buildings, whereas the King living at Clarence House, he has a very nice garden there and it's not overlooked at all. I mean, I have seen Prince Philip's rooms because I'd worked with his office a lot and I did a book about his mother, so I was there quite often. I haven't seen the Queen's rooms, but I'd love to see them.
Yes. And at the beginning of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, the palace was not open to the public at all, was it?
No, it wasn't. And actually, she didn't want to go and live there either. She was living in Clarence House, but Churchill said that it was sovereign's residence and she had to move in. He forced her to move in. That was quite tricky because the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret were still living there at the beginning. And then they moved into Clarence House a little while later, somewhat before the coronation. The only reason that the palace was open as a public tourist attraction was to make money to pay for the fire damage of 1992 at Windsor Castle. And that was so successful that the opening has gone on ever since, and it raises money for the Royal Collection Trust in order to look after all the treasures which are held by the sovereign for the nation.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Time for the papers with Emma Wolfe and Andy Jones. It's 7:48. We can pull this around, Andy, says Sir Keir Starmer in the Sunday Times.
It's an astonishing thing for him to actually admit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an incredible thing for a Prime Minister who came in with a huge majority barely a year ago to be saying, I can pull this around. It's like expecting to be 3-0 up and being 3-0 down. One of his promises now is he's going to build 300,000 homes in 12 different towns. Of course, anyone looking at the immigration figures are 700,000, 300,000 homes is not even going to touch the surface. Look, he says he's going to turn it around. He's got his Labour Party conference this week in Liverpool. Obviously, going to be huge speculation about his field and all sorts of other things. Look, in his manifesto, he talks about smash the gangs. That's not happened. He talks about growth. That's not happened. He talks about cutting the debt. That has absolutely not happened. He talks about building more homes. That hasn't happened. Obviously, he's also had this situation where Angela Rayner is Deputy Prime Minister, had to resign. Tulip Siddiqui's Minister for anti-corruption. Has had to resign because of being implicated. She denies in a corruption scandal. Homelessness Minister has had to resign for profiteering from all this sort of stuff. Mandelson, etc., etc. And then questions about £750,000 donation to his party that should have been declared and wasn't declared. Yeah. The grown-ups are in the room. The grown-ups absolutely aren't in the room. He's talking about he can turn it around. We'll see what he has to say this week. But it's going to have to be something pretty spectacular for him to even get to part A of that.
And this nonsense about the 12 new towns which are going to attract younger voters, apparently. No younger voters I know are going to go, oh, great, 12 new towns, I'll get a house really soon. I mean, that's not going to happen. We've heard all this nonsense about they've built and they're going to build, and builders are saying, really, where, when is this all happening? And this constant empty rhetoric about that we've seen. He's obsessively posting about reclaiming patriotic values and national renewal. Empty rhetoric, which actually means nothing. There are things that people do want.
Absolutely.
There are, immigration, borders, proper NHS, proper education, all the things that people want. Stop attacking us. Just stop attacking us on pensioners, winter fuel. Stop attacking us on farmers' inheritance. Stop attacking us. Just leave us alone. But this nonsense about patriotic values and reclaiming our national renewal, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely agree. I think this is part of the illness within Labour. They talk about working people, but they don't know any. They talk about helping working people, and all they do is snatch from them. You can't save, you can't earn, you can't buy a house, you can't hand it on to your kids. And then they come with this phrase, patriotic renewal. I mean, what sort of ChatGPT think tank said that? Can you imagine people in the pub or the working men's club or at the bus stop going, oh, what we really need is some patriotic renewal.
And Andy,
they
it's
don't
even worse
even
than that.
speak like normal people.
They don't speak like normal people, but it's even worse than that. When they do put up a British flag, a Union Jack or a Cross of St George to be patriotic and to show the love that everybody has for their country, it's torn down by their local council. And they're told that's not patriotic, it's far right.
They talk about working people. Working people aren't even allowed to say what they think. You get flags snatched off, you get sent to prison for a tweet. President Trump was talking about the lack of free speech in Britain. He was absolutely correct. You listen to some American podcasts and they're talking about people going to prison for saying they don't like migrants here. I mean, we are fundamentally changing so much about Britain, and it's absolutely for the worse.
Can we have a look at the Sunday Telegraph, Emma?
Yeah.
And Amelia Earhart.
Yes, this one is very, very interesting. Sorry, I thought you were going to go to Rachel Reeves.
No.
Tone shift for me there, from disaster to, well, sort of another disaster. Obviously...
Or mystery, we like a mystery.
Well, yeah, the aviatrix, the female pilot Amelia Earhart, who disappeared in 1937. She was attempting to be the first woman to fly around the world nearly 90 years ago. And it's been this mystery ever since, hasn't it? The wreckage of the plane was not found. Her body was never found. So Donald Trump has been saying that he's going to release some previously unreleased files. He's been saying this on his Truth Social. And he says he's going to declassify secret government records relating to the disappearance.
Now, why would they have been secret all this time?
Why were they classified?
There must be something.
Will it release anything that we don't actually know about this?
Well, apparently they've been able to use some sort of new technology to analyse her last radio signal.
Yeah.
And they can tell where the plane must have gone down.
They were expected to land at a place called Howland Island. This is Earhart and her navigator were expected to land at Howland Island to refuel, but they failed to arrive and they were declared dead 2 years later. It's absolutely fascinating. And obviously the conspiracy theorists are out in force.
Yeah.
Well, there have always been conspiracy theories. Some people are absolutely convinced that she was kidnapped by aliens. But, I mean, it was such a mysterious disappearance because until then she'd been able to fly the most remarkable long flights and always kept in touch and always survived.
Yeah.
And then mysteriously disappears and you never hear any more.
No, Andy, you can't join in, sadly, because there's a problem with you. Oh, you can?
Oh, you can.
I was going to say,
Your mic was playing
it was a light aircraft. And so when these things fall apart and fall to pieces in a crash, it's very hard to locate where they landed. And of course, at that era, even though they had a radio signal, you don't have much technology with which to track them.
No, I mean, so some of the recent disasters have not been able to find the plane. So the big, the massive 747s.
Plane either.
But it does imply that they do know something more about it.
Oh, yeah. It does, but I also think it's Donald Trump who likes to do things dramatically. I mean, he may just be declassifying government records.
Yeah. No sign of any Epstein files about that.
No. All right, you two, thank you. We'll see you later. Here's the weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a damp start to the weekend for many of us yesterday, but today does look a little bit brighter. However, there is still some rain around first thing this morning, particularly across northern parts of Scotland, where we'll see some outbreaks of heavy rain. And across the southeast, the weather front that we saw yesterday does linger through much of this afternoon, bringing some cloudier skies, some outbreaks of patchy rain here. Elsewhere, though, once that weather front clears northwards across much of Scotland, there'll be plenty of sunny spells on offer. Still one or two isolated showers across the north and the northwest, but feeling pleasantly warm in that prolonged sunshine, particularly across the south with highs of 19, perhaps 20 degrees, and definitely feeling more pleasant further north too, although temperatures still here around about average. So a cloudy end to the day across the very far southeast, particularly across parts of Essex and Kent, where we see that rain persisting into the evening. A few isolated showers across parts of southwest England, Wales, parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, and much of Scotland too. We'll continue to see 1 or 2 isolated showers through Sunday evening, and parts of Shetland and Orkney perhaps seeing some cloudier skies to end the day on Sunday too. But as we go overnight Sunday and into the start of Monday, that weather front across the southeast eventually clears offshore, and any showers that we do see gradually start to ease. So plenty of clear spells around, and with light winds, that means it's going to feel much chillier than it did on Saturday night. There is also a risk of mist and fog around in places, particularly across eastern parts of England. And when we do see those clear skies, particularly in rural spots, we could see a touch of frost in places. Any of that mist and fog could be a little slow to clear in places, but otherwise generally a dry, bright but chilly start to the morning on Monday. Any sunshine we do see across the northwest quickly turning hazy though as we see this weather front sweeping in from the northwest as we go through Monday afternoon. The best of any prolonged sunshine definitely across the southeast, where we'll see highs of 19 to 20 degrees and perhaps a little cooler further north, particularly if you're stuck underneath that cloud and rain.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. There's a new poll out today, and it predicts Labour is heading towards, its worst electoral defeat in history.
Yeah, it's really bad news for the Prime Minister because it also finds that he is the least popular of all time, and Rachel Reeves is the least popular Chancellor since records began.
So, with the Labour Party conference kicking off today, and on the horizon, at least, potential leadership challenges from Andy Burnham, possibly Sadiq Khan as well. Can Keir Starmer convince his party that he is the person to lead them into the next election?
And then he's got another problem too, because it is said that he might have dodged inheritance tax legally, but dodged it. It's been revealed that he gave land to his parents via a trust that meant that their estates would never pay death duties on the asset.
Yes, it's just a few weeks since the Prime Minister said that this was the next phase of government, but we've had sackings, resignations and scandals. Can anything turn things around for the Prime Minister? He says he can. Do you believe him?
Prince Harry accuses insiders of sabotaging his relationship with the King as he rubbishes reports that he found the recent meeting like an official visit.
And the small boat surge continues. Almost 900 migrants crossed the English Channel illegally so far this weekend. That's according to GB News' latest figures.
A very odd story in George Galloway and his wife being detained by police under the Counter-Terrorism Act at Gatwick Airport. They'd flown in from Moscow, but they weren't arrested, and they have now been released.
And then we're going to raise a glass, I hope, to English sparkling wine, as the International Wine Awards gives our homegrown grape the top spot, beating French champagne for the first time.
Small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And we're going to talk about heading back to the moon, because NASA is planning one mission to go round the moon as early as next year, hopefully landing on the moon a couple of years after that.
In sport, a golden weekend for English rugby as the women's team became world champions for the third time. Team Europe are on the verge of a stunning Ryder Cup triumph as they take a 11.5 to 4.5 point lead into the singles at Bethpage, and Liverpool lose for the first time in the Premier League this season.
After a damp start to the weekend, today is looking a little bit drier and brighter once any early rain clears. Join me later for the full forecast with all the details.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast. Can we talk about amazing artworks that you've done from fallen trees?
Oh, I would very much like to discuss it.
Because this came up, didn't it? Because of the sycamore gap tree it's the...
Oh, where's my cigarette holder?
Forestry Commission.
National Trust.
Thank you. The National Trust say they want to hear from artists who've got great ideas about using the dead part of the tree to make something artistic and wonderful in that place.
Oh,
so you'd have another reason to go back. You can see the stump that's growing new sprouts, as it were, and but a wonderful piece of artwork. And there are wonderful pieces. Several people have been in touch with me, Stephen, saying stop dissing it because it's a great idea.
It's wonderful.
Because wonderful, wonderful works of art can be made from fallen trees.
I think it will help me reconnect with nature.
Well, have a look at these then. Have a look at these.
Marvellous.
Wonderful things that are created from fallen trees. You've got the pictures. There's a fantastic artist called Simon O'Rourke there, who's very famous for this. That is a dead tree. It was a dead tree. It was just a tree that's still there.
It's not a living tree, is it?
No, but it's been created because it's at Highclere Castle, right, where Downton Abbey is filmed.
Well, yes.
And they lost, on the estate, they've lost at least, there were 7 or 8 crashed planes during the war. And so in tribute to all of the men who lost their lives actually on the estate, they've commissioned this wonderful work of art, which is an airman, right? And he's standing there and he's part of the tree, but he's looking back at where he died, actually. And even the benches around there are made to look like his bomber plane. That is done by a chainsaw artist called Roland Irwin in Keswick. Right?
That is very nice.
Apparently there are lots of works of art made from fallen trees in Keswick. That is wonderful. That's another one by Simon Rourke. You can see there's a sort of wood nymph coming out of that dead tree. Yeah?
But that one's popular.
And then this one, you'll like this one.
Oh, give over.
That's a custard cream table. Isn't that brilliant?
Well, look,
but that's how clever art can be.
No, I know, and I'm not dissing it. I'm really not.
You are.
No, I'm not. I like it.
Thank you. Yes, you are.
You know, I like bits of art, and actually, some of the favourite things that we've got in the house are little bits of art made out of wood. I love all that. But what I'm saying is, I think it's a No, you're not allowed to say. You're not allowed to say ponce anymore. It means something that I never knew it meant. Apparently.
Oh, I see what you mean. You mean naff.
Naff. I mean naff.
None of those things were naff.
They're not naff. They're not naff. They're very nice. But what I think is naff is the idea that this is going to help us inspire the public to connect with nature and using timber as a symbolic focal point. It's that I think
Stephen,
is absolute
have you just
codswallop.
seen that custard cream? I want to go outside and embrace nature now.
Do you, with a custard cream?
With a custard cream.
But
That's
don't you
what it
think
takes.
but that lovely one on the Highclere estate means something?
Yes, that does.
That is a pilot carved into the tree near where he fell.
That is lovely, and that's a very nice piece commemorating a very specific thing, and it's beautiful, and it takes a huge amount of skill to do it. Love it. However, just the idea of this so we can reconnect with nature. Why can't we reconnect with nature at Sycamore Gap by going and seeing the beautiful nature that is already there and the new sprouting from the root of the Sycamore Gap tree? We don't need to have all this extra stuff chucked in to help us feel at one with... I don't need art in nature. Nature is the art.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing. They're making a work of art from the nature of the fallen tree. Yeah. It'll say something, won't it? Make you think.
Will it?
Yeah. Doesn't that the airman make you think?
Yes, the airman makes me think, but I'm not sure something commemorating a tree made out of a tree will make me think.
It will. I'll drag you there. When they come up with a wonderful work of art, it'll be worth celebrating.
I know I make a thing of it. I do like some art. I mean, like the new statue of Queen Elizabeth that's going up. All that. I'm actually not a Luddite. I like bits of art and I like sculpture particularly. But it's just enjoy it for what it is, but don't make it into some sort of mission. That's what I don't like. Oh, how does this make you feel?
You just don't like the words?
I don't like the words, no.
OK. It's probably written by ChatGPT anyway.
Yeah.
OK.
But no, they're very nice, and the custard cream, excellent.
The custard cream's lovely. Oh,
what you will like, if you like art and trees, it's a shame we didn't get this pulled up for you. You would very much like this in the Daily Star this morning, which is... Oh, Lord, where is it? Which is this... You won't be able to see, but there's a woman in this tree, and for those of you so inclined, a naked lady.
She's probably a wood nymph, isn't she?
This woman is stark as, but she's been painted...
She's beautiful.
Don't focus on the killer cat line, no. It's so she's been painted to meld in with the tree. Who's doing cameras this morning? Stop moving down. It's Alistair. Might have guessed. But stuff like that is very clever.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So they should just install one of those, shouldn't they?
With the custard cream in mind, that takes the biscuit.
Oh, he's terrible. It's just dreadful. I can't bear it.
No, so just install naked ladies up at the Sycamore Gap.
Wood nymph. That's what she is.
She's a wood nymph in her spare time.
It'll be more clever than that, though. I mean, you can see artists really wanting to do something special. I'm convinced. I know you're not. Okay.
No, I'm so not.
No, I know.
Right, let's crack on. Sir Keir Starmer is facing, well, a challenge is to underestimate it, to unite his party as conference gets underway in Liverpool today.
Yes, the Prime Minister's actually said he's going to try and hope and draw a line under all the chaos that's been dogging him for the last 14 months, basically.
Yes, we've had Angela Rayner's resignation, Lord Mandelson's sacking over his link to Jeffrey Epstein. We've had Tulip Sadiq had to go. We had the homelessness minister, whose name escapes me, who had to go.
Who made somebody homeless, allegedly.
I mean, it's never ending.
It's been absolutely extraordinary. And that's not to mention, of course, the split within his party over key issues like Palestine and now digital ID cards and the winter fuel payments, which is going to get worse as the winter comes on.
Yeah, now every every Labour mayor now wanting his job as well, so it would seem.
Yes.
Sadiq Khan and Andy Burnham, apparently.
Yeah, and you know that petition that's been going on. In fact, I don't know how many people have signed it already, but it's been amazing. They've done an analysis of all the votes that are coming in, and they've found that most of the votes are coming from Labour constituencies.
Really?
Yeah. Which is
there we go, 2,107,000.
My goodness, yeah.
Which is huge.
Analysing where the votes are coming from just in the regions, they're able to tell that they're coming from Labour. Most of them are coming from Labour constituencies.
And you're worried about being tracked. I don't know what house you voted from.
Yeah,
all right, let's talk to our political correspondent, Catherine Forster, who is in Liverpool for conference this week. It is going to be a very difficult time, isn't it, Catherine?
You can say that again. A couple of years ago, before Labour won the election, the atmosphere here was absolutely electric. The Prime Minister was treated like a rock star. Last year, they'd only been in government a few months. They were already feeling pretty downbeat. They were finding it very hard. And now here we are with this poll putting the Prime Minister as the least popular ever, and a new very detailed poll out today saying that if there were a general election tomorrow, Reform would win a majority even bigger than that which Boris Johnson got back in 2019. So Labour desperately, and the Prime Minister in particular, need to turn things around. There'll be a whole flurry of announcements. Today we're hearing about new towns. The Housing Secretary, Steve Reed, is going to say build, baby, build, channeling that Donald Trump sort of rhetoric. But look, it feels at the moment like it would take a miracle, because they need to make people feel demonstrably better off. And there have been, a very difficult economic inheritance, but so many missteps and scandals, the resignations, the sackings just in the last few weeks of what was supposed to be the next phase of government. And a story in the Sunday Times today about the Prime Minister having put some fields that he sold for $300,000 just a few years ago, that they had been his parents, but they had been put into a trust, which meant that they were out of his parents' estate when they died. So I think that's an awkward look for a Prime Minister who's always condemned tax avoidance. It's worth saying there's absolutely nothing illegal about what he's done. He bought those fields himself for his parents many years earlier. He gave them to his parents to run a donkey sanctuary, but clearly it was put in a trust, which meant that there was no potential liability on their death. So, and the enemy without Nigel Farage, of course, we're going to hear a lot about him, just as we heard about him constantly at the Liberal Democrat conference in Bournemouth. We're going to be hearing about him, I suspect, again and again and again. The Prime Minister trying to paint Reform and Nigel Farage as a scary and divisive option, but also, of course, split within Labour. Plenty of Labour MPs want Rachel Reeves to turn on the spending taps. It's looking like she's going to have to put taxes up by probably about 30 billion or so. And Andy Burnham, the so-called King of the North, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, who it seems would very much like the Prime Minister's job, and polls suggest would definitely improve Labour's prospects. The Prime Minister will be trying to brand him, as he already is, a version of Liz Truss, given that he said we mustn't be in hock to the bond markets.
I mean, time was when a political party conference was a bit of a festival. Everybody got on, and there were wonderful sideshows and parties in the evening. And usually, even for a party in opposition, the general feeling was up. It was an exciting place to be and to attend. What is the... I know it hasn't quite got going yet, but what's the atmosphere like?
Well, it doesn't actually open until 11 o'clock this morning, but of course, loads of people are already here. And look, they're very worried. Of course they are, because as things stand, dozens and dozens of Labour MPs have got tiny, tiny majorities, and they are looking at losing their seats in 4 years' time. So, of course, there is worry. What there isn't is a collective sort of assessment of what to do to turn things around. Everybody has got different opinions, but look, divided parties tend not to do well with the electorate. But yeah, even last year, the atmosphere here was not great. I expect it will be even worse here. Contrast the Liberal Democrats having a fabulous time last week in Bournemouth. Contrast Reform having an even more fabulous time a couple of weeks earlier. But I think the Conservative conference next weekend will be even more gloomy.
That's something to look forward to. No fireworks. No fireworks for them.
So some of you have got a wicked sense of humour. Rory's just sent a message saying Keir Starmer is the humble son of a humble toolmaker who is the humble owner of a humble donkey field. Move along, nothing to see. I mean, yeah, it's a fair point. Well, there is stuff to see, actually, around the conference halls, and we sent our deputy political editor, Tom Harwood, along, because he likes a good wander around, see what's going on. Morning, Tom.
Very good morning to you. Yes, not everything is quite set up, as you can see. There are still some things, some I's to dot and T's to cross. But there is quite a lot going on here. When the delegates flood in at 8 a.m, they'll be treated. A smorgasbord of companies. You've got the Motability scheme here. This is come under some criticism from the Conservative Party about giving free BMWs benefits, but we've got cars there. We've got some sort of gaming setup here for people who are interested in that, as well as the traditional stands, you know, join a union party, the campaign for dignity in dying next door to that. Policy mogul, all sorts going on here. But of course, what will be going on in...
Oh, dear.
Oh, right. We're leaving you, Tom. We're leaving you, Tom, because that signal keeps breaking up.
You can't hear us even saying that.
It's probably Moscow.
Sorry about that. Yes, it'll be political interference.
Sure. You can blame it on something. Probably blame Nigel Farage for it to be fair. He's going to be the anti-Farage conference, I think. Which is an interesting deflection.
They must have taken, yeah. Is it a good thing to diss your opponent all the time, and that's your only raison d'etre? It can't be. They've got to be able to stress the positive.
Yeah.
There just isn't much to stress.
No. Right, Prince Harry, I know it's one of your favourite subjects, ladies and gents, is accusing sources of sabotaging his reconciliation with his father.
Yes, this comes whilst he denies reports that he... You see, that's the point. His recent meeting with his father got a lot of press coverage. Who told them the details, and were they correct? You see, he's saying he didn't say them, and actually a lot of the facts, so-called facts, were wrong.
All right, let's talk to royal commentator Richard Palmer. Richard, good morning to you. Is Harry right to fight back on this?
Well, I think yes, I suppose he is, because certainly he wants to reconcile with his father, and he feels there's a concerted effort to stop that happening. I mean, the phrase that really caught my eye was in one of the Sunday papers where he's blaming the men in grey suits, and I tried to check that last night, and although it didn't come from the person I thought it had come from, it does seem to reflect what he believes. So I had originally thought that some of these stories were being leaked by, you know, perhaps more junior officials who'd got a whiff of what was happening but didn't have all the details. But he's actually blaming the palace. He's saying there's a concerted attempt by the people advising the king to thwart his efforts to reconcile with his father.
It's also the same sort of phrase that his mother, Princess Diana, used when she said that she was being briefed against by the courtiers, basically, in the palace, the men in grey suits.
It is, yes. It's very redolent of Diana, and I suppose we know that he's been deeply affected by his mother's story. Where we go now, I don't know. I mean, I have to say that I think his side have been puzzled why things have been leaking, and they've been puzzled by the suggestion that he wants to come back as a working royal. And he's not really said he wants to do that. He just really wants to come back 4 or 5 times a year, and he wants to have as normal a relationship as possible with his family. And for whatever reason, he believes that people inside Buckingham Palace are trying to thwart that.
Yeah, I mean, there was the business of the picture. We were told, or at least the press were full of, the fact that he apparently gave the king a picture of the family in Montecito. And then the next day, some of the papers sort of boiled that down to he gave his father a picture of Meghan. So you do wonder whether any of it was correct at all anyway in the first place. And he is now alleging that he didn't.
Well, I mean, there was an on-the-record comment from his spokesman yesterday, and they were trying to correct some of the details in that story that appeared in The Sun on Saturday, and they didn't specifically say, but the way it was phrased implied that the picture was of the children rather than of Harry and Meghan with the children. Perhaps a small mistake, but there was still the paper had been briefed correctly that a picture was handed over. I think what irritated him as well was the suggestion that it was a very formal, strained meeting, and I think that some people were suggesting, it was a shorter meeting than a lot of the King's meetings that day, and I think that's really hurt him. And he desperately wants to mend fences with his father and with his brother if it's possible, although that's less likely.
Yes, yeah, you'd think so. Richard, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. I mean, when it comes to public life, I think we've all got a right to have a say in what we would or would not like him to do, or how involved we think he should be. But when it comes to the private life, it's none of our business, basically, is it?
Except that they're the royal family and they make headlines, whatever they do or do not do. And that then creates problems for them. I mean, if he promised the king, I won't leak, I will not tell the press anything about this meeting, I promise. And then he reads it all over the press. He's bound to be sensitive about that, isn't he? And he's going to be able to say, it's not me, it's not me.
Yeah, don't blame him for that, I really don't. Right, I'm sure you'll let us know what you think. In the meantime, Ellie's got the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a damp start to the weekend for many of us yesterday, but today does look a little bit brighter. However, there is still some rain around first thing this morning, particularly across northern parts of Scotland, where we'll see some outbreaks of heavy rain. And across the southeast, the weather front that we saw yesterday does linger through much of this afternoon, bringing some cloudier skies, some outbreaks of patchy rain here. Elsewhere, though, once that weather front clears northwards across much of Scotland, there'll be plenty of sunny spells on offer. Still 1 or 2 isolated showers across the north and the northwest, but feeling pleasantly warm in that prolonged sunshine, particularly across the south with highs of 19, perhaps 20 degrees, and definitely feeling more pleasant further north too, although temperatures still here around about average. So a cloudy end to the day across the very far southeast, particularly across parts of Essex and Kent, where we see that rain persisting into the evening. A few isolated showers across parts of southwest England, Wales, parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, and much of Scotland too. We'll continue to see 1 or 2 isolated showers through Sunday evening, and parts of Shetland and Orkney perhaps seeing some cloudier skies to end the day on Sunday too. But as we go overnight Sunday and into the start of Monday, that weather front across the southeast eventually clears offshore, and any showers that we do see gradually start to ease. So plenty of clear spells around, and with light winds, that means it's going to feel much chillier than it did on Saturday night. There is also a risk of mist and fog around in places, particularly across eastern parts of England. And when we do see those clear skies, particularly in rural spots, we could see a touch of frost in places. Any of that mist and fog could be a little slow to clear in places, but otherwise generally a dry, bright but chilly start to the morning on Monday. Any sunshine we do see across the northwest quickly turning hazy though, as we see this weather front sweeping in from the northwest as we go through Monday afternoon. The best of any prolonged sunshine definitely across the southeast, where we'll see highs of 19 to 20 degrees and perhaps a little cooler further north, particularly if you're stuck underneath that cloud and rain.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Do stay with us, because still to come, there's a new race to the moon. Yes. Some people will say, what a giant waste of money. And other people like me, I'm afraid, will say, it's very exciting. Apparently NASA is determined now to have people going round the moon quite soon and then landing on the moon a bit further away. But we'll find out more in a moment.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
And with a dynastic touch, George Martin's son, Giles Martin, is involved in all of this.
Yes, so he's the keeper of his father's flame, really, which is very touching.
It's very, very touching. How can it be? I mean, we've been talking about a band here that was playing before we were able to send pictures across the Atlantic. How can a band that is that old cause such excitement today?
Well, it's such a number of elements. They encapsulated so much of the early 20th century music. Fats Domino, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Tim Panally through Paul McCartney's father. He grew up hearing his father playing the piano. He had a big jazz band. They played around Liverpool. So all of that music went into the Beatles' crucible. And I find it so interesting that Decca get ribbed for turning them down. But those early sessions are not showing them at their best. And they say guitar bands are on their way out, but actually it took the Beatles to bring them back and show everybody a completely different scene, a completely different imagination of what guitar music can be. It took the Beatles 3 albums to really get into their stride, because their first 2, let's not forget, were sort of covers in a way. So there's a few of their own songs in there.
Yeah,
but
a lot of covers.
But with Hard Day's Night, it's all their own tracks. And what can I say? The energy of them, the invention of them, when you watch Get Back, you see how much craftsmanship they put into constructing a completely unique song. That's the thing about the Beatles. Each song is so unique. There's no replication in any of their output.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first. GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, is led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward and people feel as though what they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense. Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at. Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Now, how do you fancy our biggest ever prize in the Great British Giveaway? That brand new full berth motorhome worth more than 74 grand, 30 grand in your back pocket as well. Here's how you enter.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000.
You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model.
We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to you. Now, at 8:31, it's been 50 years, well, more than 50 years, since Neil Armstrong became the first man to step foot on the moon. And, of course, since that moon landing programme finished, a few years later, we've not been back.
For some reason, we didn't go back. It's incredible. There are only 4 of America's moonwalkers still alive now, astronauts who actually got to the moon and walked there. Buzz Aldrin, who was the second man on the moon, wasn't he? David Scott of Apollo 15, Charlie Duke, Apollo 16, and Harrison Schmitt, who was Apollo 17. And Buzz Aldrin is 95.
Oh, it's incredible. Let's have a listen to the astronauts' commander as they looked forward to their mission.
Victor, Christina, Jeremy, we're going to the moon. It has been an amazing journey the last 2.5 years, and we really see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, that's the team that are going to get there, the new team that were announced just the other day.
But they're not stepping foot on the moon, they're just going round it. Should we talk to space expert Andy Lound, who joins us now? It doesn't feel like the space race of the 60s, Andy, but, I mean, there is a bit of pressure, isn't there?
Good morning. Yes, there is. I know you don't think it feels like it. It does to me, because this is the equivalent of the Apollo 8 mission, which went in '68, and that did a figure of 8 fly around the moon. The pressure has now started to pick up a little bit stronger because China are really keen to get humans walking on the moon, preferably before 2030. So America would really like to beat that. This mission has been ongoing. I mean, 2004 was when they first flagged up the Artemis program to actually get people to the moon. And so it's been really much a long haul, and there's been various technical issues on the way. But this is very much, unlike Apollo, this is very much an international program. I mean, the spacecraft, the Orion, which is going to go to the moon to do this flight, the service module section at the back of it, of course, is built by the European Space Agency. So they're building that section, Boeing building the other sections. And so the spacecraft is really an international collaboration. And in fact, the crew is international because we have a Canadian on board the spacecraft as well. So it's a very different focus than the old Apollo thing, which was sort of America going to the moon. This is more of an international collaboration. But the pressure is on because they need to beat China to the moon, because resources on the moon are wanted by China and other nations need to get there as well. So it's really pushing. They had to delay anyway this mission, because this mission should have flown some time ago, because the unmanned mission, which flew. They had a heat shield problem when it came back. But that was the whole point of the test, to test how everything actually functions. And of course, when they put men and women to land on the surface of the moon, they need SpaceX. And the SpaceX program has still been developing, of course. So really, they got time to get this one right before they could actually do the launch. And then suddenly, on everybody's surprise, they said they could go as early as February the 5th next year. So they've got a window of 3 months, February, March, April, to actually take this amazing flyby of the moon, which again is a figure of 8, so they're not actually going to land on the moon. And they're doing a wide shot. It's not going to go very close to the moon. It's going to be, I think it's something like 6,500 nautical miles away from the moon. But here's the big plus on this one. It'll be a night launch because they actually will have the humans for the first time to see the far side of the moon in daylight. No one has done that before. No human has seen that before. When Apollo went, they saw the far side of the moon in darkness. These could see the far side of the moon in light, and that is going to be an absolutely fantastic moment.
I mean, a lot of people, just quickly, Andy, a lot of people are saying we managed to get men to the moon almost regularly back in the 60s on such little computerised power. That, I mean, our technology is so much more advanced now. Why are we making such a big deal of it? Why does it still seem to be such a difficult thing to do?
It is a very difficult thing. The physics hasn't changed. So the physics hasn't changed. What is our technology has changed to do it. And to be honest, Apollo was really pushing the limit. They'd only got a 50-50 chance of making it and coming back. They really want to do it better than that now. So our technology is better, so it'll be and more sustainable. Apollo really wasn't a fully sustainable thing. When Richard Nixon cancelled the project, he'd done it for a good reason, because it wasn't really sustainable. The technology wasn't really there as it is now. So it is getting exciting, because this time we're not going just to visit and come back. We're going eventually to stay and then move on to Mars and possibly the moons of the outer planets in due course.
Well, I hope they get a move on, because I want to see it.
Andy, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, still to come, a great night for the Red Roses. We'll tell you more in the Sport with Marcus in a moment.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Time to talk the sport, and it's all good news at the moment. But, well, apart from Liverpool, Marcus.
Well, I mean, if you're a Crystal Palace fan, that was good news.
Well, yes. For them, yeah.
We'll come to that in a moment, but of course the main headlines yesterday, the fact that the Red Roses have done it. World champions, first time in 11 years. England beating Canada by 33 points to 13, 82,000 people at Twickenham, lots more at home, including Anne, watching on television.
Yes, it was brilliant.
Getting very, very excited.
I couldn't understand it at all, what was happening, but I got the sense that we were winning.
Oh, we were.
That was exciting enough.
And more comfortably in the end than many people anticipated, because the Canadians had played some fantastic rugby in the build-up to the final. But look at those scenes of celebration.
Fantastic.
At the end, that wonderful trophy, and we can get a little bit of a close-up of it, because afterwards, Zoe Allcroft, with the trophy next to her, and John Mitchell alongside her, had this to say.
Honestly, it is unbelievable. It's literally what dreams are made of. Like, we have had so much belief in this group. We've built something so special over the last 3 years, and today it was just about sticking to our process and just believing in ourselves. Like, everyone just had to do their own job, and I think that is what everyone did today.
Yeah, sticking to their processes, doing the job, and that is exactly what Team Europe are doing in the Ryder Cup. They need just 2.5 points from the 12 available in the singles today to retain the Ryder Cup. 3 points to win on American soil for the first time since 2012. And Team USA have very firmly been put in their place despite their raucous support.
The crowds, yeah.
Good, really no, I mean, we're on course for a smashing victory, aren't we? Could we mess it up at this stage?
Well, I mean, listen, anything's possible. Anything's possible in sports, but the way the likes of Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy have been playing, and both admitted it was a challenging day yesterday because they were getting heckled, but they've done absolutely fantastically. So no, I think there is no real danger of the Americans fighting back. But anything can happen. We mentioned Liverpool. They won their first 5 matches of the Premier League season, looking nigh on unstoppable. But yesterday they lost. The late goal from Eddie Nketiah, giving Crystal Palace a 2-1 victory, something of a reality check for the Liverpool manager, Arne Slot.
Disappointing first half and a disappointing end of the game. So yeah, then we can only blame ourselves by defending is the way we did. So one of our players decided to run out because he wanted to play a counter-attack, which was of no use because time was up. So it was only about defending. So yeah, maybe we were too offensively minded. Not we, one player was too offensively minded in that moment.
Yeah, well, they've a couple of issues to resolve, but they still lead the way. Crystal Palace up to second. But 2 matches today. Aston Villa take on Fulham and Newcastle play Arsenal at St James's Park. If the Gunners win that, they'll leap above Crystal Palace into second place.
Right. Oh, I know someone who wouldn't be happy about that. But anyway, enough said. Right, Marcus, thank you very much indeed.
OK, right, we're going to be looking through the newspapers in just a couple of moments with Andy and Emma. First of all, though, there they are. First of all, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Ex-Hurricane Gabriel continues to bring some wet and windy conditions across parts of Iberia over the next couple of days, particularly across southern parts of Spain and Portugal through Monday afternoon. There'll continue to be some strong winds and outbreaks of heavy rain. A little drier across parts of France and Italy, but the Balkans continue to see some outbreaks of quite heavy rain as we go through Monday afternoon. It'll then turn a little bit drier towards the middle part of the week, and temperatures for most reaching the mid to high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've got dressed up as a pilot sitting in an actual real-life Spitfire. This is not just a simulator, this is a real-life Spitfire that's been kitted out to do simulations here at the Spitfire Centre in Blackpool. John Puttock joins us now. You're the engineering lead here, and this is quite a fancy bit of kit and really, I guess, you know, lets people experience what those pilots would have done 85 years ago.
Absolutely. This aeroplane, you know, is part of the hangar display here at Blackpool, and Andy Harper, our specialist, actually put this aeroplane together and has enabled it to act and behave exactly like a real aircraft would. And you know, it's available to the public to come up and have a go and see if they can fly a Spitfire.
And tell us about the significance of this aircraft 85 years ago, the Battle of Britain. Things start to turn in Britain's favour.
Absolutely. This is a Mark V Spitfire. Early days they were using the Mark II, and that aircraft had 8 Browning machine guns, firing 303 bullets. This Mark V actually incorporated some 20mm Hispano cannons, and so gave the aircraft a lot more punch and enabled it to be more successful.
And I've got all of this gear on. A lot of it is kind of fur and real thermal stuff. That's because the temperature up there at the height, at the altitude that they were flying, was absolutely freezing.
Absolutely. I mean, the higher you go, then obviously the colder it gets. But if you're at around about 25,000 feet, you're going to be experiencing temperatures of between -25 and 30. There is no heating in the aircraft, so from that point of view, the only way you're going to stay warm is to dress for it. So, as the Queen once said, there's no such thing as the wrong weather, it's just the wrong clothing.
The People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Hello again, 8:47, joining us to go through what is making the news, at least in the newspapers today, Emma Wolfe and Andy Jones. Very good morning, thank you for coming back. Right, shall we look at the Sunday Times, not talking about Harry and Meghan, but this time talking about the Duke and Duchess of York, and whether they will be welcome at Balmoral or Sandringham or wherever it's going to be this Christmas.
It's a really difficult time for the royal family, for King Charles. This is his brother, and he is just an embarrassment that just keeps getting more embarrassing. We had the recent photographs, didn't we, and video footage of, was it the Duchess of Kent's funeral?
Yes.
Where, you know, Andrew was there. He was pictured sort of publicly, he arrived publicly, laughing and joking and all of that. And he stands out like a sore thumb. We've then had more revelations of the Epstein affair and Sarah Ferguson involved as well.
Well, Sarah was at that funeral as well.
She was there as well.
So it looked as though they were beginning to be welcomed back.
Welcome back at these public events. And I think what the sort of sources are saying from the palace is, you know, King Charles can't change his brother. He doesn't want to shut him out completely from all family events, but he very much wants to limit this kind of public appearances, even going so far as maybe for funerals or weddings or whatever, having him enter and leave by a back entrance. You know, they may not be welcome at the big royal family Christmas. So this really is a kind of, I think, a radical step in terms of how much we're going to see of the Duke of York. I mean, he looks like he spends a lot of the time just driving around in a Range Rover on the estate, doesn't he? He can't really get out much. He can't do any public functions in and of his own right.
Can the king really tell him, you've got to come in and out by the back door?
What, can he tell him that?
I don't
Can
know.
he cut his funding? Can he throw him out of the Royal Lodge? He doesn't seem to have done. He's tried.
He's tried.
The less we see of him, the better. Let's be honest.
I think so.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's sort of whole
spending too much money and misdemeanours and things, and then there's flying out across the world to go and visit a convicted paedophile and taking money from him. And Sarah Ferguson also implicated in the same sort of scandal. Prince Andrew is having to pay off these terrible sex allegations as well. Princess Beatrice has done not done an interview. There's a story attributed to Princess Beatrice that she's concerned that she won't have any royal role because of the scandals.
Which is a shame, because Beatrice and Eugenie were very well regarded by the Queen, the late Queen, and they behaved themselves.
They have.
They really have.
And
it must be so
They
difficult
tried to carve out an identity, which again isn't easy as a royal, is it? As a young royal, it's
but
interesting.
They have been relied upon, especially while Kate was ill, and the King himself. Both of them did a couple of royal duties.
Yeah, they give a little zhuzh to an event, don't they? They can cut a ribbon and whatever. It's interesting what the source close to King Charles says, though. You can't sack someone from being your brother, but this year, if the Duke and Duchess were both to be as honourable as last year, i.e. not turn up, it would be for the best, and the family would not be disappointed in terms of not appearing at the royal Christmas.
Yeah.
And you could see that Prince William was not amused when Andrew tried to make light-hearted conversation and jokes. He almost completely ignored his uncle.
Yeah. Andy, in the Sunday Times, Zach Polanski, who most of us have never heard of, could be the kingmaker in the next government.
Oh, I think could be. He's doing an awful lot of work there. And let's talk about the serious problems that people are facing. There's about this pantomime of the royal family. You know, people are really suffering with the cost of living crisis, all sorts of problems with crime and migration. Within that, Reform are on the march. 250,000 members they've got, and the other smaller parties who have been left behind by Reform's absolutely exponential rise over the last couple of years. The Green Party, who, by the way, have only got 80,000 members despite being in existence for over many decades. Zach Polanski, their new leader, he's only been in 3 weeks. He's saying he's open to an alliance with some of the other lefty parties, whether that's the Lib Dems or the new sort of Corbyn, Jeremy Corbyn, Zara Sultana, your party. Good luck creating an alliance with a party that can't even be in an alliance with themselves. The party with no name, that can't agree on anything, arguing about where the money's gone, don't know what's going on. I mean, Zach Polanski himself, a man who said he could hypnotise women and make their breasts bigger. I mean, it's astonishing, bizarre.
Yeah, he was a hypnotherapist and he offered hypnotherapy to make women's breasts increase.
Yeah, he did an interview with Fabulous, the glamour magazine in the Sun newspaper, where they sent a reporter who wanted her breasts to be larger, and Zach Polanski, in his previous professional life, as professional loosely, hypnotised her, and with the power of thought, he could make your breasts bigger. Could he, with the power of thought, make our economy bigger?
Well, maybe it's worth a shot.
Stop doing these hand gestures when we talk about boobs. But Zach Polanski thinks he can be the kingmaker, and I don't know. I mean, who knows? They can't agree on it.
Nothing to lose.
It's a bit early to talk about it, though.
It is absolutely ludicrous.
All they've got to lose is their dignity. So,
well, okay.
Yes.
I think he lost that in his hypnotherapy studio.
If you don't believe me, Google it. It's out there.
I can't quite get my head around that. Emma, in the Mail on Sunday, Guinness, because it's there. I mean, they've been credited with. Not only making a fabulous stout, of course, but the fact that they're doing these 0% ranges, which are actually you really can't tell the difference.
Well, good. That was going to be my first question. To me, Guinness always has sounded pretty disgusting, but the idea of a 0% Guinness sounds really gross. But you.
Oh no! If you like Guinness. Yeah. I mean, when I haven't had the real stuff in the fridge, I've served people who love Guinness, the non-alcoholic stuff.
They don't know.
Wow, because their sales of 0.0% have outstripped their regular Guinness. 53% now of their online deliveries are the alcohol-free variant, because we've got all these young people who don't want to drink, don't want to have sex, don't want to party, don't want to get drunk, do anything. What do they do?
They sit on social media and moan.
Yeah, and it's worth about 50 million to them in this country. So I mean, it's great though.
It's good.
At Christmas,
they need to have
I had some lovely non-alcoholic wine, non-alcoholic cherry brandy or something after dinner. It really felt like drinking along.
Yeah. You feel part of it.
You do. You've got a glass of fizz, and that's nice.
If you're at a sports event, let's say Cheltenham Festival, or you're watching the football with your mates, having a couple of boozy Guinnesses and then having a non-alcoholic one, and a non-alcoholic one is quite good for your levels.
Yeah.
they say.
Yeah.
I will say, having been served Guinness Zero in a pub, very often what they do is they get a cold can out of the chiller and tip it in a glass, and it only fills 3/4 of the glass.
No, it depends. You do 2 different sizes. They do a pint tin.
I always get this.
No.
I always get this
You need to ask
midget measure.
No, you need to ask for a bigger tin. They do pint tins.
Oh, do they? They want experience.
There you go. All right, here you go. Thank you both. Been good to see you this morning.
Here's the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a damp start to the weekend for many of us yesterday, but today does look a little bit brighter. However, there is still some rain around first thing this morning, particularly across northern parts of Scotland, where we'll see some outbreaks of heavy rain. And across the southeast, the weather front that we saw yesterday does linger through much of this afternoon, bringing some cloudier skies, some outbreaks of patchy rain here. Elsewhere, though, once that weather front clears northwards across much of Scotland, there'll be plenty of sunny spells on offer. Still 1 or 2 isolated showers across the north and the northwest, but feeling pleasantly warm in that prolonged sunshine, particularly across the south with highs of 19, perhaps 20 degrees, and definitely feeling more pleasant further north too, although temperatures still here around about average. So a cloudy end to the day across the very far southeast, particularly across parts of Essex and Kent, where we see that rain persisting into the evening. A few isolated showers across parts of southwest England, Wales, parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England and much of Scotland too. We'll continue to see 1 or 2 isolated showers through Sunday evening, and parts of Shetland and Orkney perhaps seeing some cloudier skies to end the day on Sunday too. But as we go overnight Sunday and into the start of Monday, that weather front across the southeast eventually clears offshore, and any showers that we do see gradually start to ease. So plenty of clear spells around, and with light winds that means it's going to feel much chillier than it did on Saturday night. There is also a risk of mist and fog around in places, particularly across eastern parts of England, and when we do see those clear skies, particularly in rural spots, we could see a touch of frost in places. Any of that mist and fog could be a little slow to clear in places, but otherwise generally a dry, bright but chilly start to the morning on Monday. Any sunshine we do see across the northwest quickly turning hazy though, as we see this weather front sweeping in from the northwest as we go through Monday afternoon. The best of any prolonged sunshine definitely across the southeast, where we'll see highs of 19 to 20 degrees and perhaps a little cooler further north, particularly if you're stuck underneath that cloud and rain.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain's Newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
He was even nicer off screen than he was on. He was a real gentleman, and combined with being a really good journalist. And you didn't often get that. He came to us at TVAM in 1983, I think, almost at the very beginning. And he came from the BBC, and he was frightfully well thought of as a serious journalist. And I think at first he sort of felt like a fish out of water, because he was expected to sit on a sofa next to Roland Rat and have a laugh as well as have a serious interview. But he warmed to that challenge almost straight away, because he was a very warm person. And of course, we already had Lynn Foldswood, his wife, doing a consumer spot on TVAM in those days too. So we got to know them both really well, and they adored each other We were all devastated when she went, and she died during lockdown, so nobody could actually go and comfort him. And it is a real loss. He had a wonderful life, though, I have to say. And his son, Nicholas, can be so proud of both his parents being such a force in broadcasting. Both of them were. It feels like the end of an era. He was one of the originals, he really was.
He really was. I mean, I was very lucky. I mean, I didn't work with him like you did, Anne, but very lucky enough to interview him and Lynn. I met Lynn first when she was battling bowel cancer. She did such amazing work, like yourself, with you know, raising awareness of things like this. And then I met John through her, and I just fell a little bit in love with him. He was so warm, so charming, so helpful. And, you know, as a young journalist, he was just it's so easy to talk to. As you say, he's one of the greats.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning. A new poll is out today, but it predicts Labour is heading towards its worst electoral defeat in history.
It also finds the Prime Minister is the least popular Prime Minister of all time, and Rachel Reeves is the least popular Chancellor since records began.
With the Labour Party conference getting underway this morning and a potential leadership challenge from Andy Burnham, maybe even Sadiq Khan on the horizon, can Sir Keir convince his party that he is the right person to lead them into the next election?
And then there's another problem. Did Sir Keir Starmer dodge inheritance tax? It's been revealed that he gave land, a field actually, to his parents via a trust that meant that their estates would never pay death duties on the asset.
Prince Harry accuses insiders of sabotaging his relationship with the King as he rubbishes reports that he found the recent meeting like an official visit.
The small boat surge continues. Almost 900 migrants crossed the English Channel illegally so far this weekend. That's according to GB News provisional figures.
And we're raising a glass to English sparkling wine as the International Wine Awards give our homegrown grape the top spot, beating champagne for the first time.
After a damp start to the weekend, today is looking a little bit drier and brighter once any early rain clears. Join me later for the full forecast with all the details.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Well, should we crack on with the politics this morning?
Well, let's, yes, because if they're looking at the papers at the Labour Party conference this morning, it ain't good news for them at all, you know.
No, it isn't really. And Sir Keir Starmer has admitted that he faces a challenge to unite the Labour parties, because says he's going to turn it round, though, as conference prepares to get underway.
Yes, he's hoping to draw a line under all the chaos that has been haunting him, certainly over the last few weeks, but really over the last 14 months.
Yes, we've had Angela Rayner's resignation, Lord Mandelson's sacking, we've had Tulip Sadiq and that being sort of looked at legally. We've had the homeless minister.
Yes, we've lost several ministers,
homeless.
haven't we?
I mean, it's all just been one disaster after the Morgan McSweeney now and all that money that's being looked into.
Yes, already, yes. There's lots of sort of supposed potential scandals brewing in the Sunday papers this morning. And then there's, of course, the ongoing controversies, some elements that haven't gone down very well, like the stance over Palestine, digital ID, and then there's the winter fuel payments, the controversy of which has not gone away, especially as the winter is now coming on, isn't it?
So, the big question, can the Prime Minister reignite the fire within his party and fend off the threat of reform?
Which all makes Camilla Tominey's programme rather interesting. She joins us now. She's obviously up in Liverpool at the conference. And I can only imagine how many people that you've managed to talk into coming on your programme, and there's such a lot to talk about, Camilla.
There is so much to talk about. You'll be delighted to know that I'm going to be speaking to the Housing Secretary, Steve Reed, about everything that you have just mentioned. Keir Starmer's coming into this second Labour conference as Prime Minister with a slew of negative headlines. As you said, both of you, he's the least popular Prime Minister in history now. His approval rating is worse than Liz Truss, Boris Johnson in the aftermath of Partygate, even John Major at his lowest ebb. We've got Andy Burnham, as you know, nipping at his heels. He's a more popular prospect. In fact, he's got the unusual moniker of being the most popular Labour politician in the country, which frankly, considering the polling, isn't saying much. We've got yet more polling from More in Common that puts Nigel Farage's reform well out front. The front of the Liverpool Echo here is about Keir Starmer trying to ward off the, quotes, far right. Whether he's talking about reform or Tommy Robinson, nobody quite knows, but we'll be speaking to Kevin Maguire, the left-wing journalist, about all of that with our paper review. Steve Reed has some questions to answer because he was the former chair of Labour Together, which again, as you've both said, has been marred in controversy because of a donation scandal that the Electoral Commission says nothing to see here, but the Mail on Sunday is still banging that drum. And then, of course, if Labour's woes weren't bad enough, look at the Tories. 2 polls this week put them down on as little as 14%. That would mean that they ended up with less than 50 seats. I'm going to be speaking to James Cleverly, who's come back into the shadow cabinet to discuss Kemi Badenoch's woes. She's got a big speech the week after this one. Keir Starmer under huge pressure on Tuesday to turn this situation around. Rachel Reeves speaking on Monday. The Chancellor, as you've also pointed out, almost as unpopular as the Prime Minister. I'm going to be going through the polling with a pollster. I'm going to be speaking to Chopper about what we need to expect from the next few days in Liverpool. There is so much to come in my 90-minute show, guys. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned because it's going to be fiery.
Yeah, you're going to have to squeeze it all in. I've got to ask Camilla, do you think this is going to be a Labour Party conference, or is it going to be an anti-reform UK conference?
A little bit of both. But actually, I think that the Tories and the Labour Party are making a massive mistake in constantly talking about Nigel Farage. The Reform leader is literally living rent-free in the heads of Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch. They're trying to reset the dial here, Labour, with this announcement of 300,000 new homes. But do you know how many homes they've built so far? 117,000. They're nowhere near their housing target. So that is a deflection technique. By the way, we've also got some stories now that this digital ID plan serves to benefit Larry Ellison, who is very good friends with Tony Blair. You're the least popular PM in history, and you then introduce one of the least popular policies in history. That petition against IDs now at over 2 million. So yes, they can talk about reform as much as they like, but really that's a dead cat strategy to try and deflect from the fact that they are decreasing in popularity the more that they rule the Labour Party. And that's a massive problem for Keir Starmer. Is he going to be Labour leader by the time we're here next year? Who knows?
Well, we've just had this in saying more than half of Labour members do not want Keir Starmer to fight the next general election as their party leader. It was a survey called by Survation for Labour List, and it showed 53% of the party membership want a new leader.
And only 31% want Sir Keir to stay.
Yeah, well, yeah, and also consider that MRP polling by YouGov in the week. Who are the Labour big beasts that are set to lose their seats because of the rise of reform? Bridget Phillipson, Wes Streeting, Yvette Cooper, Ed Miliband. I mean, it's too early. Of course, it's too early to call any general election now. We've got 3 years to go. But on the current polling, Labour and its big beasts will be eviscerated.
Yes, I mean, they can't even if there was any desire to, they can't call a general election early because they'd be putting themselves out of a job, and they know that.
They do. And also, we know that this party doesn't have a history of regicide like the Tories do. So you then have to ask yourself, well, how would Andy Burnham, for instance, actually challenge the leadership? Let's not forget, though, he didn't rule this out in an interview with Tony Diver of The Telegraph last week. He said, MPs are urging me to stand, and he didn't rule out a challenge before next May. If he gets the backing of 80 Labour MPs, then he could challenge Starmer And then, of course, the demand from the opposition will be, well, if you're going to change leader now, we need a general election.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Camilla, it's going to be a busy show. You're going to be on fire today. It's going to be great. We'll see you at 9:30.
Right, let's go back to the thorn in the side of the king, certainly, or at least his courtiers, Prince Harry. He is blaming somebody for leaking the details of his meeting with his father. And the problem is, he obviously sees it as a threat to at least the first step that he's made towards trying to achieve some sort of a reconciliation.
Yes, and what makes it worse is he says the sort of leaks aren't even accurate because the reports claim that he said the recent reunion with his dad was distinctly formal. He says that isn't true.
That's right. In their first meeting in almost 2 years, apparently he said, and now he's denying that he ever said it, he joked that he felt more like an official visitor rather than, you know, a much-loved son.
Prince Harry's spokesperson said the claims were pure invention, fed, one can only assume, by sources intent on sabotaging any reconciliation between father and son.
Which sort of echoes the sort of thing that Princess Diana used to say, that she felt that she was being briefed against by courtiers. She called them men in suits, didn't she? We're joined by the former royal editor of The Sun, Duncan Larkham. A very good morning to you, Duncan. Who do you think's to blame for leaking, well, maybe you know, for leaking the things that we heard about the meeting between Harry and his father? It probably wasn't Harry, was it?
Well, no. I mean, it was a story that was in The Sun, I think, yesterday, which claimed, as you've outlined, the claims that they've made. But, I mean, you know, this is clearly a source because The Sun correctly and accurately, it's been backed up by Harry's spokesperson, said that Harry had handed them a picture. Now, OK, The Sun said it was of Harry and Meghan. It was obviously of the kids. I can't imagine Prince Charles, or King Charles, sorry, needs any more pictures of landscapes and so on, so it's bound to be the kids. If that sort of level of knowledge is there, then someone that is briefing the paper and journalists clearly has it in for Prince Harry, as he says.
So, I mean, I know he gets a lot of criticism, and it's certainly not all unjustified, but he's got a point with this, then.
Well, I think he probably does. I mean, Harry has a pathological hatred of the men in grey suits that he shares, as you say, Anne, with his mother, his late mother, who coined the phrase almost. And there are echoes, as you say, and it also strikes perhaps of that fine line between Harry calling it out and Harry being paranoid about these mysterious men in grey suits. Is there an agenda against Harry? Well, he certainly clearly thinks that there is, and that's putting in jeopardy his chances of making amends with his father. I mean, I think you have to kind of admit that at the same time, this is largely of Harry's own making. If he hadn't exposed such truths in his book, for example, let alone the Oprah Winfrey interview, etc., then perhaps relations with his father would be a hell of a lot easier.
Yes.
But, you know, we are where we are, and I think Harry probably does have a point.
Yes, I mean, a lot of our viewers are saying, look, he's made his own bed and now he has to lie in it. But it's still interesting to know whether or not it is true that royal courtiers do occasionally ring people like you and brief against the very people who are employing them.
Well, look, I'll be honest with you, it's never happened in my career.
Really? At The Sun?
Yeah, no, I mean, the palace that I dealt with would never dare phone a journalist and brief against a member of the royal family. That's what I'm saying. They might give you background information. They might steer you in the right direction if you've got something wrong. But generally, I find them very professional. They're civil servants, after all. They're not sort of spin doctors that the likes of Keir Starmer employ. These are relatively low-paid civil servants that are doing the job that is seen normally by them as their dream job, working for the royal household.
OK. Duncan, we've got to leave it there, but it's good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Isn't it? It is interesting, though, that it does echo what his mother used to say, that once you've put a foot wrong, it's the courtiers that don't forgive you. The family is still your family, but the courtiers don't forgive you. And you can see why. You can see why they might think it a very bad idea that King Charles, you know, reunites with his youngest son.
But it's family. It's family, and we shouldn't interfere in family.
No.
Other stuff, fine, but family is a different matter, really. Anyway, look, let's give you something to smile about this morning, because there's still a chance to win in our latest giveaway, which is that massive 4-berth motorhome with more than 74 grand, 30 grand in your back pocket on top of that. It's our biggest prize to date. Here are all the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right, still to come, British sparkling wine is beating champagne. We'll be telling you more next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
18 minutes past 9, and British bubbles, like these, officially better than champagne, according to judges at the prestigious International Wine Awards.
Yes, it's a company called Nightimber. The vineyard, a British vineyard, took home the Champion Sparkling Wine Award, marking the first time a champagne producer has not lifted the trophy.
Yeah, well, the West Sussex vineyard invited our national reporter Will Godley along as they began this year's harvest.
This isn't Burgundy, Tuscany, or even Marlborough, but that hasn't stopped these vineyards from becoming world famous. Nestled in the rolling hills of the South Downs, harvest is beginning at Nightimber. 500 people will spend the next 2 weeks handpicking the millions of grapes that grow here.
Well, it's the earliest they've ever started harvesting here, and thanks to perfect growing conditions, they're expecting to pick enough grapes to make 1.8 million bottles of sparkling wine.
And it's a good job too. The sparkling wine made from these grapes has just been named the best in the world, beating champagne for the first time at the International Wine Awards. Senior winemaker Brad Greatrix says it's all thanks to the British climate.
The south of England is absolutely perfect for traditional method sparkling wines. To see now that England, and specifically Nightimber, is the first sparkling wine producer to displace champagne from the so-called, the top step, is just an amazing accomplishment and makes us all so proud.
But no time to celebrate for Brad. Harvest is one of the busiest times of year. Each day, hundreds of punnets filled with grapes arrive here at the pressing centre, ready to be made into wine.
Once the grapes are separated from the vine, it's up to us to, as quickly as possible, get the grapes pressed and the juice extracted and fermentation underway to start the process of creating the wine.
That process starts here as crates move along the conveyor belt and the grapes are dropped into the press. It then takes around 3 hours to squeeze out all of the juice, but it's still a long way from becoming wine.
You have to be very patient in this world. So the earliest that a wine from this year's harvest will be on the market, so to speak, is about 4 years from now.
But the wait should be worth it. Nightimber expect 2025 to be a vintage year for British wines, which has seen a boom in popularity despite concerns that support is lacking.
If you look at all other wine regions in the world which have set up, they've had a lot of support from government to make it work. Here in the UK, we really don't have the support needed. In order to take us to that next level, to have more exports and more money coming into the UK, and finding ways such as having like a wine tourism relief, which would allow businesses to sell wines from their cellar door, encouraging tourism to the local community, would really benefit the economy of the UK.
The Treasury told GB News that they're working closely with the wine sector to drive growth, including by simplifying the duty system. But with English sparkling wine now officially better than champagne, more exports can only be expected. Because when it comes to bubbles, cheers, British is now better. Will Godley, GB News, West Sussex.
Yeah, I know so many people have pointed out he looks too young to be drinking, but he's done well. Now, how you pour a glass of wine? I don't know if I didn't know this until Joanna Lumley told me.
Right.
Of course, she did it with Bobby.
She'd know.
But now, you pour a tiny bit first. Right.
Right.
Yeah. And then you add to it.
Right.
There is one I have poured earlier here, Blue Peter. And then when you add that, you don't get the enormous.
It doesn't fizz up as much.
No, exactly. So it's much more reasonable. You see, that's the way to do it. You don't drink, so cheers.
No, cheers. Yeah, she'll enjoy it all. We'll see you next week. Here's Camilla.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a damp start to the weekend for many of us yesterday, but today does look a little bit brighter. However, there is still some rain around first thing this morning, particularly across northern parts of Scotland. We'll see some outbreaks of heavy rain, and across the southeast, the weather front that we saw yesterday does linger through much of this afternoon, bringing some cloudier skies, some outbreaks of patchy rain here. Elsewhere, though, once that weather front clears northwards across much of Scotland, there'll be plenty of sunny spells on offer. Still one or two isolated showers across the north and the northwest, but feeling pleasantly warm in that prolonged sunshine, particularly across the south with highs of 19, perhaps 20 degrees, and definitely feeling more pleasant further north too, although temperatures still here around about average. So a cloudy end to the day across the very far southeast, particularly across parts of Essex and Kent, where we see that rain persisting into the evening. A few isolated showers across parts of southwest England, Wales, parts of Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, and much of Scotland too. We'll continue to see 1 or 2 isolated showers through Sunday evening, and parts of Shetland and Orkney perhaps seeing some cloudier skies to end the day on Sunday too. But as we go overnight Sunday and into the start of Monday, that weather front across the southeast eventually clears offshore, and any showers that we do see gradually start to ease. So plenty of clear spells around, and with light winds, that means it's going to feel much chillier than it did on Saturday night. There is also a risk of mist and fog around in places, particularly across eastern parts of England. And when we do see those clear skies, particularly in rural spots, we could see a touch of frost in places. Any of that mist and fog could be a little slow to clear in places, but otherwise generally a dry, bright but chilly start to the morning on Monday. Any sunshine we do see across the northwest quickly turning hazy though, as we see this weather front sweeping in from the northwest as we go through Monday afternoon. The best of any prolonged sunshine definitely across the southeast, where we'll see highs of 19 to 20 degrees and perhaps a little cooler further north, particularly if you're stuck underneath that cloud and rain.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me. I'm Tom Harwood. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
There's an interesting story, Charlie, in the Daily Mail. A 2-year report that claims racism in the UK countryside is getting worse, with abuse normalised and tolerated. What do you think of this academic research?
Rubbish. Well, it's a load of old bunk. Yes, yeah. 2 years, as you say. 2 years to interview how many people? 115. It took 2 years.
Very scientific.
And this is where, people often ask about, what you do when you go to university, or the tuition fees that people have been paying. University of Leicester, where this report was undertaken, have funded this 2-year holiday spree by the sounds of things and cobbled something together at the end. 115 people, that's nobody. But they've asked the question about, do you feel that the countryside is effectively exclusive in any kind of particular way?
Well, let me read this out. The report also claimed that non-verbal cues, such as incessant staring and unfriendly body language, made individuals from ethnic minority backgrounds feel unwelcome.
And no Wellington boots.
That's probably what they were staring at, yes.
Walking shoes. I'm a man with certain vintage. I've never owned a pair of walking shoes.
I haven't got walking shoes. I've got Wellington boots.
I've never owned a pair of walking shoes. I've got a pair of wellies.
Well, there you go.
A pair of trainers.
So we'd both be OK in the countryside.
It does not impede on your appreciation of the countryside having walking shoes or not.
Well, it depends how far you have to walk.
It's pathetic. Haven't these universities got better things to do?
Well, you would have thought so. But the idea that, the countryside is now all of a sudden racist, or the rural communities in our great countryside is all of a sudden exclusive, as I say, it's ridiculous.
GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, and this is GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor.